Today, a big challenge for Jack Trudeau. Third game of his rookie season. I imagine right now he's thinking to himself, I'm it. I'm the quarterback.
He is it. And I think basically what he's thinking about is the fact that no longer am I a rookie. I'm the starting quarterback. So I can't use that as an excuse. And I talked to him on the field before the game, and I said, what one thing is the foremost thought in your mind going into the game? And he said, relax.
Well, relax. That's easier said than done, Hank. The Colts, however, seem to play so much better at home. They've had a very difficult time on the road. They've lost 2 already this year. And look at this. 3 wins on the road since '84. However, they were 4-4 here last year, and they'd like to get their first win today. The Rams have won the toss. They have elected to receive. Charles White will go back deep along with Ron Brown as Dean Viasucci will be kicking off for the Indianapolis Colts, and there he is out of Western Carolina. Viasucci, 1 of 5 kickoffs have been touchbacks thus far. And he hit this one very well. This is Ron Brown, possibly the fastest man in the NFL. He'll bring it out to the 20, and it'll be dropped at the 23-yard line. The ball is loose, however. There's a big pile-up. Let's see who's got it. John Robinson said we cannot turn the football over and put them into this football game. Let's see if they did on the opening play of this game. And the Colts have it.
That's exactly what you don't want to have happen if you're the Rams. You don't want to provide them with an opportunity to play in a shorter field than what they normally play on. And here's a great look at the replay. Here's Brown getting the kick, return. He catches it well right at number high. Got the ball in a wrong hand, running on the left side with the ball on in the right arm toward pressure. As he falls, the ball is jarred loose. And now the the Indianapolis, we both said the same thing. On the plus 21.
Trudeau will come in. We have a man shaken up on the field, getting up very slowly is Kenny Daniel, the safety. So they'll set it up. You know, one reason, Hank, that Ron Brown was possibly carrying that ball in his right hand is he's had trouble with that left wrist.
Yeah, he had a cast on it yesterday.
Now here's the defensive line that Trudeau will face. Sean Miller, he'll play nose at times and also a defensive end spot, depending upon the defense that they'll use. Mel Owens coming off a very strong game last week. He had 3 tackles for loss. And back deep, Jerry Gray has been tested time and again, but he has 2 interceptions in the early going. Here is Trudeau out of Illinois. A very poised 23-year-old as he gives off straight ahead, and here comes Wansley, George Wansley. He has a run inside the 15, close to a first down. Checking now offensively, this Colt team. Trudeau, of course, the quarterback. Wansley, and watch this man, McMillan. They want to get the ball to him a lot. He's very tough inside. Up front, their best lineman is Chris Hinton, 2 times in the Pro Bowl out of Northwestern. Second down, a half a yard to go for a first down. The ball resting at the 13-yard line. That's Wansley in motion, number 34. Single running back is McMillan. Booza in motion. McMillan out of Pittsburgh will chug forward for the first and goal inside the 10-yard line. The Colts last year led the AFC in rushing average, 5 per carry. However, in the first 2 games, they've averaged just a little over 3 yards, so they want to reestablish the running game.
Well, they had a running personality last year. They want to get back to that, and I think going into the game, here's Rod Dower, the fine coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and he said going into the game, they really want to get back to a running personality this afternoon and do that as much as they possibly can.
Trudeau now with the first and goal. Getting off to Wansley. He's gone. Touchdown. So after scoring only 1 touchdown in 2 games, they score the first time they have the football.
Well, it makes a big difference when you play in a short field, and that's exactly what they did. The opportunity was there, and the great thing about it was they took advantage of the opportunity. A lot of times you have the opportunity and you don't wind up doing anything with it. They did, and that's a big plus for the Indianapolis Colts early in this game.
Viasucci now to attempt the point after. Ron Stark to hold. Kick is on the way, and the Colts have jumped ahead in the early going here, 7-0, with 13:32 left to go in the first quarter.
We see a replay of the trap. It's a trap play. And Wansley does a great job of cutting back, and they run right inside. Nobody touches it. And he goes into the end zone unmolested for the touchdown. Here's another shot of it. Watch the good trap block on number 58, Mel Owens. He runs inside of Owens, and it's the Bye-Bye Blues. He goes all the way in for the touchdown. Nobody around him.
That's a hit song now, isn't it? The Bye-Bye Blues?
Well, if it isn't, it will be.
The Colts scoring after the turnover. Now with a 7-0 lead. Biasucci will kick off again. Brown and Charles White back deep. It'll be Brown again. This is almost a replay of the previous kickoff. We'll see if he can hang on this time. Well, we'll bring it out to the 25. There's a penalty flag thrown at the 25-yard line. Albert Bentley up to make the stop. Let's check and see what the penalty's all about. Last year, the Rams are just superb in the special teams, with Brown leading the league in kickoff returns. And, of course, Henry Ellard, who's still a holdout, led in punt returns a year ago.
And talking to Johnny Robinson yesterday, he said that that's one thing they are not doing as well as they did last year, and that is the specialty teams, especially
holding
coverage.
Number 53, the receiving team, first down.
That's Tom Dooley in charge of the festivities today, as here is Steve Bartkowski. Bart starting his third game. He struggled a little bit as he'll go against this defensive line of John Hamm, their #1 draft pick out of Alabama. Well, they have outstanding linebacker led by Barry Krause, and back deep they're going to go against the veteran Nesby Glasgow at safety.
I think they're going to try to get away from their personality on first down and maybe throw more on first down.
And they do here. You called it. And here's Brown with that speed. And Brown has a first down all the way out to the 33-yard line. Newberry, who started in place of Kent Hill, threw a big block on that play. Let's go back to this one.
Watch, it's a screen. Look at Pankey trying to get the ball, get the defensive lineman, Bickett, trying to get his hands down. But in spite of that, he still got a piece of the ball. Brown does a good job of running down the sideline and is finally tackled and knocked out of bounds there. But he got the first down.
18-yard pickup on the play. Sets it up at the 34 of Los Angeles. You just joined us, 7-0. Indianapolis, straight ahead football this time to the 40-yard line. That offensive line, such a veteran line, firing out ahead. And Barry Redden moved it to the 40. Here is the backs and receivers. Of course, Henry Ellard, his conspicuous absence. Duckworth starting in his place, but Dickerson, when you think of the Rams, as we said, you think of Eric Dickerson. Up front, the guy that's really been tested today is Newberry, replacing Kent Hill, traded to Houston this week in the Jim Everett trade. From the 40 now, second down and 4.
Look at all the room they got on the left side here. Look how far off the defensive back was. They run the ball. He loves that play. That's their counter play. Call it a trap. Eric Dickerson, I asked him yesterday, I said, if you had a choice of running any play in your offense, what would the play be? And it was the one they just ran, and they call that 46-47 trap.
Dickerson earlier this year, 193 yards in a game, 29 100-yard games in his career. And what did we ask the Colts? What do they have to do? Get 11 helmets on him to try to stop him.
Yes, I talked to George Hill again on the field before the game, their defensive coordinator. He said, the only way we can win the game is to stop Dickerson. If we stop him, we got a chance.
First down now at the 46. Bartkowski, excellent protection, and he overthrew Tony Hunter. He's tied in. However, there's a penalty flag thrown late. Hunter, they're trying to get into the offense. He's caught only one pass. What did John Robinson tell us? He wanted to catch at least 6.
I don't think they have to try to get him into the game. They must get the tight end in the game. Going into the game, Hunter's only caught one ball, and he's got to be an integral part of this scheme here this afternoon for them to be successful.
Pass interference, 93 defense, first down.
So that penalty will be going against the Colts. Gives the Rams the first down. Let's pick it up.
There you see he hits the receiver prematurely, and as a result, pass interference is called on the play.
That's Cliff Odom, who was guilty of that.
93.
So now at the 49, first down.
They got to throw in front of those defensive backs. Look how deep they are.
Bartkowski. Down and almost picked off by Leonard Coleman, number 31, a #1 draft pick in '84 out of Vanderbilt, and that one would have gone for 6 if he had gotten that one.
You know what they do? Leonard Coleman, see how deep he is? He watches the quarterback for his first 3 steps, and then he puts his attention on the receiver and winds up playing man-for-man coverage. The ball is a little late in coming. Look how fast he reacts to the ball, and he should have had the interception and would have been a big play for the Colts had he made the interception.
There he is, Coleman. He went to the USFL, played for the Memphis Showboats, joined them late last year. He started at safety last week and left cornerback this week. 2nd down, 10 now for the Rams. Bartkowski setting up the screen to Dickerson. Dickerson to the 45, and he'll take it inside the 40 to the 39. And that's one thing they want to do, is throw the ball more to Eric this year.
Yes, I think they feel they have to diversify their offense a lot more than they have in the past. They've relied basically on running the football. They've come off the bus running the ball, and that's the way they've won along with their defense, especially teams. But if you're going to grow as a football team, you've got to add different dimensions to your squad, and that's what they're doing here. They're trying to do with the passing game.
John Robinson, each year the Rams have improved their record under him. 3rd down now, a yard to go. 2 tight ends, David Hill and Tony Hunter into the football game. This is Hill, number 81. Dickerson on a 3rd and 1, and it's not going to make it. He is dropped and stuffed at the 40. Excellent reaction. Barry Krause, number 55, and Eugene Daniel, 38, the right cornerback. And it's 4th down, still a yard to go.
A great response there by Barry Krause, number 55.
He's a veteran out of Alabama, one of 3 first-round draft picks at that linebacking spot. And so the Rams going to have to kick the ball. There he is. 56 consecutive start for this man, who played for the Bear in Alabama, and they won the national championship one year.
Now, this is interesting to watch Hatcher kick. From this area, he tries to kick the ball. He drops the back end of the ball as he puts it on his foot to get a very high kick, and then the tail end of the ball comes down and falls away from the would-be receiver. This time it goes into the end zone, but it's an interesting concept. He never, ever tries to kick the ball out of bounds.
Well, he couldn't keep it in. Norwood Van was down there and fell down. It'll be a 40-yard punt, and the Colts will have the ball. Well, the Rams have won their first 2 games by a total of 9 points, pulling them out late. Talk to John Robinson about those narrow escapes. John, there's been a phrase coined that you're winning ugly.
Well, that's probably true. We haven't done some of the finesse parts of the game very well, but we play defense well. We're a physical football team, so late in the game, I think we're in pretty good shape. I think we can wear the opponent down somewhat, and I think we have a chance to score late in the game. In the 49er game, we took the ball 93 yards in the last 5 minutes of the game, and that was not an ugly drive. That part was good anyway.
Wansley carries on 1st down for the Colts, picks up a yard. He's the man who scored the touchdown earlier, and that's the difference in the game. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Hank, something that's interesting to me about the Colts is that they were a good running team. Sometimes you go away from the things that made you fairly successful.
Well, one thing that makes you go away from your personality is the fact that you get way behind early in the game like they have, and it's hard to get back in the contest unless you throw the ball, and they throw it more than they had to, or they wanted to, but that was the reason, basically. They want to run the ball and have a lot more balance than they've had in the first 2 games, Gary.
That's Capers on the receiving end of the pass from Jack Trudeau. Leroy Irving making the stop, a couple of yards short of the 1st down. Trudeau has come out of a passing attack at Illinois. Mike White's offense, very sophisticated, and that's given him a boost as he comes into the NFL.
Yes, the thing about Jack is the fact that he's used to throwing. He averaged 44 passes a game at Illinois, played before big crowds, threw the ball an awful lot, so this is not a real big deal for him. He just wants to keep the car on the road, so to speak, and not get in trouble himself by throwing bad balls.
Thus far, 3 of 3 as he has the near side Mark Boyer, the tight end, lined up. Trudeau scrambling around. He gets away. He's not supposed to be that nifty, and he takes a pretty good shot, though, and we're going to have a penalty flag thrown at the point of impact. Charles DeJournay, number 70, was over there. Trudeau, not known to be a runner or scrambler. They want him more as a drop back guy. That time trying to get outside and just couldn't get there. Let's check the penalty flag out. Trudeau has good size. He's 6'3", a 211-pound rookie, is Rod Dowhauer, known as an architect of quarterbacks.
Illegal pass. Lost it down. Number 10.
Intentional grounding.
Yeah, it looked like that was obvious.
Loss of down is what really hurts you on this. Not only do you lose the yardage, but they take a down away from you. So it's going to bring up a 3rd down.
You know, Jack's really got
4th down.
Jack's got very deceptive speed, Gary. He's a little slower than you think he is, really.
That's your scouting report, huh? Here's one of the outstanding punters in the NFL. Ron Stark. He's 2nd right now in the NFL. They 47.5 average out of Florida State. As soon as they get everything sorted out here, he'll be punting to Mickey Sutton. We have 2 fine punters, Hatcher, I should say, and Stark. And this guy probably has to be happy playing in the dome, because that's going to help your punting average.
It sure has to, plus the fact, you know, the conditions are always the same unless the air conditioning goes out of whack and you get some cold air coming from one end of the state or the other. But it's great to be able to kick inside as a place kicker and also a punter.
The all-time leading career punter. He moved ahead of Sammy Baugh on the statistics a year ago. As this is Sutton, ready to receive it. Stark, who's a left-footed kicker. A little bit short. Sutton coming up on the fly. And he'll get dropped at the midfield stripe. The Rams will have the football for the 2nd time. Mark Boyer down to make the stop for Indianapolis. And so the Colts leading 7-0. We're going to take a break at the 8:37 mark.
40-yard.
The Colts with a 7-0 lead. Looking ahead to next Saturday, what a football game coming up on CBS. Number 1 and 2 ranked teams in the country. Ryan Bosworth of Oklahoma, the top-ranked Sooners. He could become the first man to win the Heisman Trophy since Leon Hart as a defensive player. Vinny Testaverde, who was 5th in the Heisman balloting a year ago, the quarterback for the Hurricane of Miami, Florida, and that's next Saturday here on CBS. Flag on the play as Barkowski delivers the ball. It is fumbled, and the Colts have recovered. The 2nd turnover in the game by Los Angeles. Barry Krause comes up with it. And what did John Robinson say? We can't turn it over and give them life. They've done it twice.
We have an illegal shift. Offense penalties decline. Touchdown.
And he has given the Colts life at the 47-yard line. So interesting, Hank. Sometimes the very thing you demand that your team not do happens to you.
Well, you can talk and talk and talk all you want, but basically what it amounts to always is the execution of that plan. And right now, they haven't executed what they thought they could do, and as a result, they're in trouble.
From the 47 now, the Colts 7-0 lead, have the football. Trudeau thus far has engineered a very effective offense for this Colt team. Let's see if he can keep it going. Almost mishandled. Snapping is, and Trudeau has to try to ad-lib and get across the 50. And that can happen, too, when you don't have a quarterback and center playing that much together.
Yeah, it can't happen, but it shouldn't happen. I don't know how in the world you can have a mistake between the center and the quarterback. He doesn't have to snap the ball back. He just has to hand it to him. And he knows what the count is because he told the center what the count was going to be. Hard to understand in professional football how often that happens and why it happens.
You sound just like a coach on that. You just don't accept that at all, do you?
No, I really don't. It's an excuse rather than a reason, really.
Last week, Trudeau's statistics is off much more effectively this afternoon.
Look at all the room on the right side here on Gray.
Picked up 3 yards on that scrambling effort. Here is Wansley. Wansley dragging tacklers with him. That's close to the 45-yard line. Vince Newsom came up, and he took number 22 with him. He just couldn't get him off his feet. This is a slang type runner out of Mississippi State. They feel he has all the tools.
Watch Wansley again. Look at the right guard pulling. Solt pulling on the play, number 66. He comes inside, a good block on the linebacker, Wilshire, and he cuts back inside. Newsom finally gets a piece of him, hangs on for dear life, and finally makes the tackle, but not until after he makes a nice gain in the play.
And it brings up 3rd and 4. Only one set running back, that's McMillan, as Wansley's come out of the football game.
I asked Gray before the game, I said, do you think he'll get much business? He said, I'll get a lot.
Here comes some business maybe in his direction again. Trudeau trying to sprint out again, and that's thrown away. That's twice he's done that, and that's not his game, is it, Hank, to be running like that?
No, it surely isn't. He's a pocket passer, and I think anytime he moves, he should be moving by design where you block down on the contained man meaning the defensive end or the linebacker, where he has a chance to get outside and use some escapability skill. And really, he doesn't have a lot of that. He's better off in the pocket than he is when he goes right or left.
Well, you might remember last week he was sacked 4 times, and the Colts have given up 13 sacks in 2 games. As Stark now will try to angle it. He's going to hit it about the 10, and the Colts are down there. They're going to down it inside the 5. Beautiful punt by Ron Stark. So the Rams going to have a long ways to move the football. Bill Brooks down there to down it. Indianapolis leads it.
Bill Brooks at the 3-yard line.
Very fine punt by Stark. The Rams are backed up. All week long, there's been speculation about the trade between the Houston Oilers and the Los Angeles Rams, known as the Jim Everett trade. And let's document it for you and get some comments from the coach. Who do the Rams receive? Well, obviously, Jim Everett out of Purdue, an outstanding 6'5" quarterback. The Oilers got Kent Hill. They also got William Fuller, a defensive end. Number 1 picks in 87 and 88, and number 5 in 87. Some think it's too expensive. You do not, Hank.
No, I really don't. I think when you have a team like the Rams, they've been in the playoffs. They haven't been able to go beyond that. They haven't been able to get to the Super Bowl. I think they have to do everything they possibly can to upgrade their football team and find another way to win and add another dimension. And I think that's exactly what they did with the acquisition of Everett.
That's to Ron Brown, and a penalty flag. Speed, Ron Brown, who is a gold medal winner in the Olympics in the 4x100 relay team. They just aired it out. Bartkowski sent him deep. They got the pass interference call.
That's a good call. I like that call on first down, throwing the ball deep out of the end zone. He goes back into the pocket from the I formation, has plenty of time to throw. Watch this now. He steps and throws deep downfield. Coleman is a defensive back, and he's got him covered pretty well, but the ball is thrown a little short, and as a result, pass interference was called. And that's what happens a lot of the times when you do throw the ball short. That pass interference call gets involved in the play.
Coleman just didn't know where the ball was and ran into him. That ends up being a 52-yard play, and straight ahead with the football come the Rams and Barry Redden. Redden this year getting his chance now to play since they've gone to the 2-back alignment. In the past, they usually had only Dickerson back there.
And people, I think, maybe wonder why they've gone to a 2-back personality. They've done that because really it's a lot easier to pick up the blitzes, and also a lot easier for the running back, Eric Dickerson, specifically to run outside, because the lead back has a chance to get the cornerback if he blitzes on the play, whereas if they don't have another back, it's the responsibility of a lineman, and it gets to be very difficult sometimes.
2nd and 7 for Bartkowski, who loves to throw long. On target again. The catch is made by Michael Young, number 88, second-year man out of UCLA. Slammed down on that play by Leonard Coleman.
Look at all the room. He's got about 11 yards of a cushion on Coleman. Look at this. He waits, and he gets him turned around completely, and the ball is thrown right at the numbers. Right, and watch the body slam. What do you get for that? 2 or 3 points in a wrestling scheme like that?
3.5 on the Richter scale. There's Coleman. Coleman, they're going after him a little bit, aren't they, Hank?
Yeah, they really are. And really, they've got a big cushion on the other side, but they just keep going to the right side. And they've got a cushion really and truly on both sides. Look at all the room on the left side now. Look at this with Duckworth.
First down from the 34. Bartkowski wants to go deep again, and Hunter's there. The big tight end has a 1st and goal inside the 5. Hunter last week caught one for 42 yards, had been shut out other than that one reception, and he's just too good to be holding him down.
Boy, he threw that ball like it had eyes in it, right? Just like it had to be thrown. They're playing a zone defense. They throw between the safety man and the corner. Look at, and the key to the whole thing, look at the pass protection. All the time in the world, and look at him put the ball right on the shelf, and Tony Hunter, number 87, makes the reception. He sucks it in just like he's got a big vacuum sweeper in his hand.
He just came up to that shelf and took it, right?
That's right.
1st and goal, 32-yard completion on the play. Rams trying to tie this one up. Hunter in motion. Here comes Dickerson. Doesn't look like he got it. It's going to bring up 2nd and goal there.
You know, the great thing about this Ram team, they have a very solid personality, and the adversity does not affect them that much. They're not going to panic. They know what they have to do. They're just going to keep sawing wood, keep playing the kind of game they want to play. They're going to play a zone defense most of the time, let you go the distance of the field, make you bleed every time you make a yard, and that's what they like to do, and that's what they're doing here. Here's a straight ahead shot. They didn't quite make a big enough surge From an offensive line standpoint, that's why they failed.
They're running behind Newberry that time and Irv Pankey.
They're tilted to the right this time. See if they run right. They do on the right side. They do.
And Redden is going to take it in for the touchdown. So John Robinson's team, after turning the ball over twice, one time giving a touchdown to the Colts, now have a chance to tie it up on this point after.
Watch the surge again. Coming off the ball. Redden lowers his head and leaps into the air and gets penetration. The ball gets penetration. And now it's 7-6.
Running behind that veteran line that time, Doug Smith and Dennis Harrah. They have 3 holdovers still, even though they've lost Kent Hill, who was 1.
Mike Lansford has kicked 12 consecutive kicks away from home. This is number 13. Let's see what transpires, what happens on number 13 kick.
Barefooted kicker is right down the middle with it. And it's all even at 7. 97-yard drive. Of course, the big 52-yard pass interference penalty kept them moving, and the Rams are all even now.
Yeah, and they look a lot better, I think, when they diversify their attack with the passing game. And I think we'll see them do more and more of that during the course of this contest this afternoon.
Oklahoma and Miami. What a classic matchup. You couldn't have figured to have a better weekend of football than the one that's going to come up next Saturday. Oklahoma, the Sooners, who lost last year to Miami. That was the only loss they suffered in that national championship season. A moment ago, we showed you Brian Bosworth, but a lot of people feel they've got more than Bosworth. It might be the best team Barry Switzer's ever had at Oklahoma.
Well, that's the one thing about all Oklahoma teams throughout their history. They always have lightning. Boy, can they fly, both offensively and defensively. And Bosworth, will look, you know, he's a great player. See that haircut he's got? Looks like
I think you ought to try that one, Hank.
I think they use a hacksaw to give him that haircut.
There's the last drive, 97 yards. Again, remember that 52-yard pass interference play was the big play. But Bartkowski, who was having a tough time throwing the football prior to today's, looked pretty sharp today.
Well, he's had, you know, I think the pass protection has been terrific, and of course the Baltimore Colts have not done a good job of sacking the quarterback anyhow in the 2 games they've played. They've only had 1 sack.
This is Oliver Williams, the short man, and the ball has been fumbled again across the 25-yard line, and the Rams have it. Oliver Williams, who does not return kickoffs very often, the short man on that, lost the ball, and now here's Harvey Armstrong still trying to wrestle it out of there, but the issue, the verdict, has already been handed down, and the Rams have it. Norwood Van comes out of there with it. So there's the turnover going the other way. We've had 2 against Los Angeles.
It looks like he really kind of bumped into the back of his offensive line, or one of the linemen, and the ball popped out of there. And now the Rams have good field position on about the 27 plus 27, 1st and 10.
So from the 27, they'll bring Duckworth and Brown to the top of the screen, split out.
They love that counter gap play from this formation. Let's see if they run it to the left. Let's see what happens.
Single running back is Dickerson. That's Tony Hunter in motion. Here comes Dickerson. And here come the Colts. And he got out of there. Somehow he shed 3 Colts, cut it up the field, and picked up some yardage. John Hand was the guy who came across first, but Dickerson able to pick up 5 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 5. We're at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Sellout crowd here for the first meeting between these two since '75. The Colts scoring first after a fumble. The Rams coming back to knot it up just moments ago. We have a man shaken up. I'm Gary Bender along with Hank Stram, and we're just glad to have you with us as Orlando Lowry is leaving the game, one of their linebackers. He had a brilliant performance a week ago. Had 8 tackles, defended 3 passes in that game against Miami. From the 22 now, 2nd down and 5. Johnny Cooks is coming to the ball game replacing.
See, they had a mistake in their coverage, and they waited for the defensive backs to get their respective positions. They could have gone on a quick count and taken advantage of the outside people. They weren't covered.
Here's Dickerson on the sweep. And he cuts it back beautifully. Has a 1st down to the 12. That's that cutback ability you were talking about.
Stopped by Dave Randall.
Now watch Dickerson. He's back there good and deep, about 7.5 yards deep to give him plenty of room. He goes to the outside, and he sees the cavity, breaks it. You know, the great thing about Dickerson is the fact that he makes decisive moves. He doesn't dance in the hole. He makes a decision, goes with it right or wrong, and that's why he's such a great back.
one of the premier weapons in the NFL. First down now at the 12-yard line. 10-yard run. This time it's tough sledding up the middle. Barry Redden carrying the ball. The Colts, a very young football team. The strength of their defense, the linebackers. 3 of them are #1 draft picks. Their nose man, number 68, last year was 21 years of age. That's Willie Broughton, the youngest man in the NFL. They're the 3rd youngest in the AFC going into this season. George Hill, the defensive coordinator for the Colts.
Talking to him before the game, I mentioned that. He said, we just got to tackle. We got to make sure we get Dickerson. If we do that, we'll be in good shape. So far, they haven't been able to do a very good job with him.
Second down 8. We're going to have a timeout. We have a mix-up. Bartkowski, Dickerson, and they had to stop the clock. They were almost going to have a delay of game. They had 1 second left on the 30-second clock.
How about Tom Newberry, the starting left guard from Wisconsin Lacrosse, a rookie, 6'2", 280. And it's amazing how everybody you talk to on that football team, how they brag about what a great player he's going to be. They like him very much. And the story he told about being a pugilist, he needed some money when he was in college, and he got himself involved in a boxing contest for tough guys, and he gave the rigor mortis shot to 4 guys, knocked out 4 guys.
In the first round, right?
Yeah, well, 1 in 7 seconds, another one in a minute, another one in 27 seconds, and another one in 22 seconds. I asked him what he had in the gloves. I thought maybe he had a secret weapon in the gloves. He said there were 16 on gloves, and he was able to get a lot of power and put them away. And they're still, I think, shaking the rosin out of their hair. All 4 of those guys.
Well, it's been a big week for him. A starter now. He was engaged on Wednesday out of Wisconsin Lacrosse. The NFL Today coming up next, as we'll be having that, as well as the New Orleans at San Francisco game, as San Francisco without Joe Montana. New Orleans winning for Jim Mora last week. Thing about Newberry also that John Robinson said about him, he says he's tough and smart. Sometimes you get a guy that's tough, but he's not smart.
I didn't know that situation ever existed.
Which are you? Are you tough or smart, or are you both?
Short.
Oh, short. Okay. There he is, though, the new guy at guard. Kent Hill, of course, now playing with the Houston Oilers. Hill was a very popular player, but this guy's been very popular. He's made a lot of impact in a short length of time.
I think the toughest thing in coaching, really, 2 things. To give up on a player that's been a great player for you like Kent Hill. A lot of sentiment involved in it, but you have to make that decision and get it done. The other tough thing about coaching, of course, is when you don't win.
I think that goes without saying. Second down and 8 now. 2-back alignment this time with Redden and Dickerson. Bartkowski looks one way, throws the other. Ron Brown, and they run out of room. Good coverage that time by Eugene Daniel, number 38, who last year had 8 interceptions for the Colts, second in the NFL. It's going to be 3rd and 8.
He had good position on him all the way. Very good coverage. And in that kind of a situation, Daniel, number 38, he has to be watching the man all the way. He cannot take his eye off the man. The ball is thrown over the top. When the receiver starts to look for the ball, then he has to get involved in it. But he's got great coverage, great leverage all the way. And, of course, the ball was thrown out of bounds intentionally, so it wouldn't be an interception.
3rd down and 8 now. Bartkowski going the other way this time as Brown inbounds. He is. Touchdown. Defending was Preston Davis, number 27.
Boy, you talk about throwing a ball on a trolley line like a frozen rope. That was thrown perfectly. Good protection again. Look, from the shotgun formation, watch the protection. And watch Bartkowski. Watch. Look at all the protection. He steps and throws and delivers it right on the money. Brown makes a good outside move on Preston Davis, number 27. Keeps both feet in bounds. And touchdown, Los Angeles Rams. Boy, what a great shot.
That's some pretty good footwork. Point after attempt now. Lansford to attempt it. 1:38 left to go in this first quarter of play. Lansford makes it 14-7 in favor of Los Angeles. Bartkowski, a pure passer. There's never been anything wrong with his arm, and he certainly showed it on that play.
You know, and I asked him what he felt about Everett. And he said, I think it's a great, great acquisition. And I think in time, why he's going to be a terrific quarterback. And I sincerely hope that I can do everything I possibly can to help him become an outstanding quarterback. Johnny Robinson has to feel better now after scoring 14 points after being behind 7-0. But again, as I mentioned earlier, this team has a lot of poise, a lot of confidence. They know what they have to do, and right now they're getting it done.
Well, you can't turn the football over like the Colts just did. It was only a 26-yard drive, took 5 plays. Rod Dowhauer, very optimistic about the future of a Jack Trudeau, and a man who had a lot to do with the development of Neil Lomax in St. Louis, and the years he coached at Stanford. He worked with outstanding quarterbacks, San Diego State, when Don Coryell was the head coach there. There's that drive, 26 yards. You don't want him going that short distance, but you got to give it to the Rams. They took it 97 yards in the previous drive.
You know, I talked to Rod before the game, and I said, what do you have to do to win offensively? He said, we got to run the ball 32 plus, and we got to complete 20 passes. If we do that, we got to change.
Right now, his team trailing by 7. This is Bentley bringing it out, and he gets to the 15-yard line, and that's all. Albert Bentley, fine all-around running back, played at Miami of Florida in the USFL for a couple of years. Jim Laughlin on the stop for the Rams. And so from the 15, the Colts, who jumped out on top early, now trailing by 7.
The one thing a team like the Colts has not been able to do, they have not been able to withstand adversity very well. They're a very emotional young football team. When they get behind, why they have had a lot of trouble getting back into the game.
Capers is split to the near side, Booza to the top, Wansley and Randy McMillan the running backs. Trudeau to throw on first down, got the time, gets it off to Wansley, and he tries to make a stutter move and is dropped for a 2-yard pickup to the 17-yard line. Good recovery that time by Mark Giroux, the inside linebacker.
Yes, it really was, and Trudeau that time showed a lot of poise. He stayed in the pocket, even though they were very close to him. He waited in the pocket and got rid of the football. And I asked him yesterday why he wore number 10. He said, well, I was always a very strong Minnesota Viking fan, and I wear 10 because of Fran Tuchman.
That's right. He lived in the Twin Cities until he was 9 and then moved to California. 2nd down and 8. Booza in motion. It's going to be Booza on the receiving end. He's got a block from Donaldson. Gets out to the 21. Still going to be some 4 yards short of the first down, as the Rams always seemingly understand what they want to do defensively, don't they?
There's a flag down on the play, however.
It'll be 3rd and 4 if this penalty doesn't change that, but it's going to change it because it's against the Rams. But I really am impressed by the Rams. They don't really have a lot of superstars on defense, but they all seemingly know what they have to do, and they understand the concept so well.
Well, you know, the important thing is you have to get people who know how to win. And that's the great thing about the Rams. They know how to win. They don't care about all the statistics and all the other things that people make a big fuss about. The only thing they're concerned about is winning a football game, and that's the way it's got to be.
Well, they've won last year, winning the NFC West. They interchange so many people. They have outstanding depth up front. They change their linebackers, their secondary. So the penalty now is going to give the Colts a new life. A first down across the 21-yard line. 14-7 Los Angeles, as we have the last 15 seconds now ticking by of this first quarter. Trudeau on the first down, and he's under pressure and broken up. Intended for Wansley. Let's go to New York now for an update. Here's Brent Musburger.
All right, Gary, the Dallas Cowboys strike back after giving up a field goal, and it is Danny White to Thornton Chandler. Chandler has caught 2 passes this year, both for touchdowns. Back to Gary Bender.
Thank you, Brent. At last play, Trudeau had somebody in his face.
Yeah, with DeJournay, got good penetration.
2nd down. 10 yards to go. Get the feeling the Colts need something to get them back into this now after getting the early lead, now trailing by 7. McMillan will go in motion, hand off to Wansley. Wansley comes bursting out of there. He's not going to have the first down. He's going to be a couple of yards short to the 29-yard line. Vince Newsom, number 22, made the stop. So we have come to the end of the first quarter. 14-7 Los Angeles.
Keep that current with that
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Michelob Light, super premium taste and less filling beer. Toyota, builder of tough. powerful, reliable trucks, Toyota. And by Sears. Celebrate Sears' new century and enjoy all the ways we've changed and all the ways we haven't. Gary Bender along with Hank Stram. We've played 15 minutes here in the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. The Rams with a 14-7 lead. As we come back, Indianapolis has a 3rd down 3. The ball at their own 29-yard line. And again, Hank, you get the feeling the Colts need to keep this series going. And he needs some success. You talked about they have not handled adversity that well. From the shotgun this time will be Trudeau. Protection is there, and it's a little tall for Capers, and it's picked off by Jerry Gray. Gray, his 3rd interception of the season, sets it up at the Indianapolis 27-yard line. Just too tall that time to come down.
See, that's what happens when you throw the ball high with people behind you, and that's the great thing about the Rams. They keep everybody in front. They make it bleed to make yardage. The ball was high. It goes right into the tipping drill. Gray makes the interception, brings it back, and now the Rams again play on a shorter field. The ball's on a 28-yard line, and now they have to take another advantage of the opportunity that they just got.
Cromwell was defending on the play, which precipitated that tip ball, and Gray already with 3 interceptions in 3 games. #1 draft pick out of Texas. I just think he has greatness ahead of him. 16-yard return on the interception. Here's Dickerson, and Johnny Cooks has got him. Cook's one of those 3 #1 draft picks at linebacker out of Mississippi State. So to bring up a 2nd down now. 8 yards to go. Thus far in this game, Rams getting the better of it not only on the scoreboard but also statistically. They have 116 yards in total offense. The Colts with 40. From the 26 now. This time Brown is split to the bottom, Duckworth to the top of the screen.
Look at all the room on the outside to the outside receivers. Boy, there's a lot of room out there.
Harry Redden comes in motion. Bartkowski will hit Redden. Redden at the 20 and a good open field tackle by Nesby Glasgow, the 8-year veteran who came up to nail him there, and it's going to bring up a 3rd down.
But there again, one way or the other, there's a lot of room on both sides, and they've sent a man deep into the post, and then Redden goes in motion and into the flat. He's open. They pick him up quickly, makes the catch, turns upfield, and picks up another, 3 or 4 yards after the reception. But a good read on the part of Steve Bartkowski.
3rd down now, 2, and we're going to have a timeout by Los Angeles. So Bartkowski will go over to talk to John Robinson. Rams have an interesting way of setting their plays up. We'll talk about that in a moment, Hank. They have 1 call the runs, 1 the passes. Back in a moment. Hank, we're looking at Dick Corey. He calls the passes for the Rams.
Well, he makes a decision whether they run or pass, but he calls the passes, and Bruce Snyder calls the runs.
That's an interesting development. We might develop that a little further. Here's a pass to Barry Redden, and Redden's going to be knocked out of bounds at the 1-yard line by Leonard Coleman. And Redden, you can see why they wanted to get him in the backfield with Dickerson.
Well, there again, that's a great thing about having 2 backs in the backfield. It really enhances the play-action pass personality of a team, and this is what this is, a play-action fake. And look at Redden into the flat, makes the catch, goes down the sideline, makes a good move, and gets the ball right down within about a yard of the goal line on a play-action fake.
19-yard pickup on the play. Redden out of Richmond. #1 draft pick, and he was upset he wasn't playing more. They made room for him, and you can see why they did. 1st and goal at the 1. Hunter in motion. Dickerson straight ahead, and he got in. Touchdown. Late call, but Dickerson able to fall forward enough to get across the stripe. And it's now a 20-7 game in favor of Los Angeles.
You know, the great thing about Dickerson, surprising thing about him, is the fact that he's 6'3", and it's amazing how low he can get when he has to. Look at this. See, look at go into the pile, lower shoulders. Gets penetration. It really, there wasn't much there, but he made it happen. He went into the pile and came out the other end. Here he comes. Watch him. He lowers the shoulder, gets in there, but a lot of tall guys cannot do that. They run tall and they stay tall. He can get low enough and make it possible to move people and get into the end zone. He's a great finishing runner.
One reason he's such a good finishing runner is they talk about how tough he is mentally. He really will take it in there and smack you. Lansford point after.
You know, the other thing great about the Rams is that the offensive linemen, they really stay with their blocks. They continue with their blocks all the time. That's very important.
Dickerson scored that touchdown. He's had some problems with his ribs. You can see the rib pads that he has around the side there, and they're looking him over as he was shaken up on that touchdown run.
I asked him yesterday about how he felt, and he said, well, I feel fine with the exception of the fact that I have some sore ribs, and I don't think it'd be a problem, but evidently he aggravated that injury on that last run.
Word we get now, it's his shoulder plexus, his stomach, and he's okay. Here's the kickoff to Bentley, and again, they're stopped at the 15. Excellent coverage. Now let's go to New York again. Let's join Brent.
Well, Gary, let's take a look at what Steve Young, as a quarterback, does best. From his days at Brigham Young to his brief career in the USFL, he can run, and he's dangerous, and he gets on into the end zone against the Detroit Lions. 14-0 Buccaneers. Back to Gary.
Well, that's an interesting development, Hank. Steve Young.
Well, he adds a dimension that they didn't have before. I tell you, he can make things happen, and talking to a lot of people who saw him play in the United States Football League, they think very, very highly of him. And I know Don Klosterman loved him with the Express.
At the 17, the Colts with not good field position again, and Randy McMillan's not going to improve it. He is dumped in a hurry. That's Reggie Doss, number 71, who led the defensive line in tackles a year ago. What flexibility they have. Doss will play the run, then they'll bring in Jeter to play the pass. The flexibility they have on defense is quite remarkable.
Well, situation substitution provides you with the opportunity. That's why, you know, I've said many, many times I can't understand why teams don't use more of a no-huddle offense to keep those people off the field.
Second down now. 11 yards to go. Colts, after leading 7-0 early, now find themselves down 21-7. And they didn't get the ball snapped. That's going to be a delay of game. And that's to be expected, I guess, for Trudeau, who's in his first starting assignment. Take a while to get the play called and get up there and get it underway.
Well, yeah, I think, but here again, I don't think that should happen, not in professional football. And even though he's a rookie, he's been through this a lot of times in the same situations. And, of course, one of the problems sometimes is the fact that the plays are coming in from the sideline, and occasionally they come in slowly. And so really, as a result, it's not the quarterback's fault. It's really what happens on the sideline.
4 penalties now on Indianapolis for 72 yards. Now it's going to be second down and 17. Trudeau will be throwing from the end zone. And he has Wansley, and Wansley is going to be about 10 yards short of the first down, but they get some operating room on that play. And we'll move to a third down. I like Wansley. He is a guy who comes from some pretty good genes. He has 2 brothers, Otis playing for the Redskins and Nathan for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Bloodlines are very good in that family as far as the National Football League is concerned. They're all the same personality. Good, tough guys that love to play, love to compete, and they dance every dance. Talking to Dahauer, you know, when he said, we've got to complete 20 passes, I said, what kind of pass? Doesn't make any difference. We just got to complete 20 passes. You can't believe how it helps, even though we complete a short pass, it at least helps our field position and gets us in good kicking position. So that's the version of what they expect from their offensive team.
Trudeau on 3rd and 9 and can't get rid of the football. Gary Jeter, the pass rushing specialist for the Rams, is back there. There he is, out of USC. He won the George Hallis Award in '85, coming back from injury. That's an award they give you. He came back from a herniated disc in his back.
You know, talking about the Colts, they came into the game very excited and very animated. It looked like they let a lot of air out of the balloon already. And they looked like just what we talked about earlier and what Dahauer said. They have had a difficult time reacting to sudden change. And so far, that looks to be very true.
If they don't let too much air out, their roof might come back down on us. Here is Stark. He hit it well. Sutton's going to let it hit. And it's going to bounce into the Los Angeles end of the field, about the 45-yard line area. So the Rams, who have capitalized on 2 turnovers to score with a 14-point lead, and we see a penalty way back at the line of scrimmage. The flag has been thrown there. Well, when you haven't had a lot of success, some of the Colt players telling us we really have peaks and valleys. We go in those valleys in a hurry.
Well, what happens, like the stock market, you know, they're up and down, and what happens, we all as people relate to past experiences, and when the past experiences are all bad, they say, well, here we go again, and they go right in the tank, and you can start seeing the bubbles come up if you're not careful.
Can't hold your breath long enough, huh?
That's right.
The thing that I thought Barry Krause said very well, who's been through a lot of this with the Colts, he says, we just don't know how to win yet. We've got to learn how to win. So the penalty means that Stark's going to have to punt again. And he's not going to have enough room. He's going to have to go all the way back to the end zone to get that operating room he needs. If he steps out of the back, of course, he would have the safety. 11:24 to go until halftime. 21-7 Los Angeles, and Stark hits another fine punt. Sutton this time for the midfield strike. Down there is Bill Brooks, and he's going to be dropped. Well, he's still struggling inside the 45-yard line. And so the Rams, who trailed early, now on top by 14, trying to win their third in as many outings. The Hoosier Dome with the Rams leading at 21-7. And Hank, you talked about not handling adversity well. What's happened also in this football game, the Rams have taken the crowd out of the game right now.
Well, that's the important thing. You know, the crowd here has been very outstanding in the past, and it was very important, I think, for the Rams to try to take this crowd out of the game, and so far they have. And so the advantage they thought they have going into the game, the Baltimore Colts, or the Indianapolis Colts, they don't have anymore.
Well, the thing about Jack Trudeau, he did not need to have the bad field position he's been getting either. That makes it even more difficult.
And plus the fact that they haven't really had very good pass protection, and that makes it very difficult.
So now from the 45, LA has the football. 11:15 to go until halftime. Bartkowski on the play action fake, and he's looking for Brown. He doesn't clear, so he dumps it off to Barry Redden, and Redden will get about 5 yards before he's shoved backwards by Barry Krause, 55. Bartkowski, when he played with Atlanta, just didn't get the kind of protection he's getting here. He's had 5 knee operations. In fact, they had a line. They said every time that Bartkowski backed up to throw, the doctor started to scrub.
Well, you know, and of course it makes a big difference, as we talked about it earlier, about pass protection. This is a big, strong offensive line. He's got plenty of time to throw the ball. And with the running of Dickerson and Redden, it's going to be a lot more efficient offensive football team.
There's Dickerson. Boy, he's fun to watch. He carries those knees high, runs to just about the 35-yard line area. There's so many things you've said about Dickerson. He makes the good decisions, and he has the ability to cut back. But what a combination. There's a lot of guys that run tough, but with the kind of speed he has to add to that.
Well, he's got terrific vision also. You know, it's amazing. He wears glasses, but he's got terrific vision on the field. He makes very decisive decisions. And the great thing about it is, you know, the one thing that's hard to defense is speed. Boy, does he have great speed.
30 yard to go. Here's Dickerson. Look at that decision he made. Very fine move. First down to the 30. Let's go back now to New York. Here's Brent Musburger.
Gary, we've had a dramatic turnaround in the Cowboy-Falcon game. From out of the shotgun, the Falcons force a fumble. It is scooped up, and Mike Pitts goes in for the touchdown, and the Falcons lead the Cowboys 13-7. Let's go back to Gary and Hank.
Well, Brent, it looks to me like Atlanta might be for real, huh? They're 2-0 going into that game.
I saw them play in preseason against Tampa, and I guarantee you they're impressive. They have a big, strong offensive line, good running, and they're playing a lot better defensively than they have in the past.
That pass intended for Ron Brown. Pretty good pressure that time on Bartkowski. Coleman defending on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Interesting thing, talking to Brown the other day, he said that when he first came into the league, running up patterns straight down the field, he had a problem because his eyes would bounce. And it was like squinting, equivalent to that. But he said he had to really work on that so he could maintain concentration and keep him from bouncing up and down. How about that?
Well, it's a lot different running on that track, isn't it, than trying to locate a football.
Yeah, that's right. Never heard that before, but that's what he told me. Right.
Bartkowski back now on 2nd and 10, trying to set up the screen. Dickerson, and a fake tackle is missed that time by Harvey Armstrong, but they still smother him for a loss. Good reaction. That's Odom along with Tate Randall, number 35, and they defense that one very well.
But see, even though you don't make a lot of yardage on a screen pass, at least it alerts the defensive people, and they can't just flop their ears back and rush the passer if you don't have screens and draws in your offensive scheme. And so what they're doing now, they're taking some of that pressure away to keep the defense from pursuing the quarterback like they normally like to, and it provides a lot more of an opportunity to run the football for Dickerson when he does run.
Third down now, 13. Brown will come split to the near side along with Michael Young. Duckworth to the top. 3 wideouts on this play for Bartkowski.
Something in the middle.
Wait a minute, they're going to stop the play.
They had a double zone that time, Gary, in the middle area. If they get somebody in the middle, will be available.
That's a delay of game. They didn't get the ball snapped in time, so now it's 3rd and 18. What that does, Hank, it really hurts you on the field goal situation now if they don't get this 3rd down.
Well, the thing they have to be thinking in terms of now is getting the ball down, even if they don't make the 1st down, to get it close so they can attempt a field goal. And I think the vulnerable area is going to be in the middle if they continue to play like they're playing defensively. Let's see what transpires.
Same offensive set as the previous play. 3 wideouts. On a 3rd down and 18. Bartkowski's got time. Pullman is there, and he almost picked it off. I don't know who he's throwing to, Hank.
Well, I don't know either, but there's four blue shirts over there, 1 receiver in the area again. It's surprising that they wouldn't have put somebody in the middle to move the ball down enough for a 1st down, or either put them down deep enough in the middle area to at least get the 1st down.
Good point. As now coming in to punt will be Hatcher, the other end of this outstanding punting duo that we're going to see. There he is out of Clemson. He'll be standing at his own 48-yard line. This is Bill Brooks, the rookie from Boston University back. And look at this one. He hit this one way high. And a fair catch is called for by Brooks, and that wasn't an easy fair catch. He had to come some 15 yards to get there.
I stood behind him in the pregame warm-up and watched him kick. You talk about elevation. You talk about kicking an elevator ball. That thing really goes up there and tough to catch.
Now, we were talking about how young this Indianapolis team is. They're the 3rd youngest in the AFC. But on the other hand, Hank, the Rams, look at their experience that they have.
That's why they have the poise they have. You know, they don't care what happens. They just keep sawing wood and playing the game.
Right now, they're playing the game with a 14-point advantage. Line of scrimmage at 26. Trudeau giving off to McMillan, and there's just not much going up the middle. You got to understand, though, coming into this game, that the Rams are the #1 defense against the run at this stage of the season of the NFL. Coming up next, the NFL Today. And, of course, the people out on the West Coast area will see that New Orleans-San Francisco game. We should indicate that those of you in Los Angeles, San Diego, and Indianapolis will not see the 2nd game because of the NFL blackout rule. 2nd down, 8. That's Mark Boyer out of USC, the tight end 84, getting into his position. Boza in motion. Here comes McMillan, and he's going to get out to the 28-yard line. Ron Solt throwing the block that time.
The timing of the play was very bad. There wasn't a good mesh between the ball carrier and the quarterback. A little sloppy, and as a result, it slowed down the running, and he was not able to get off the mark nearly as well as he'd like to, talking about Randy McMillan, number 32.
Carl Eckern made the stop. He's the leading tackler, also their defensive captain, calling signals. 3rd down, 8. 3rd down conversions. The Colts have not converted any. Bad snap. Trudeau. That would be enough, I think, for the 1st down. The catch by Boozer. Let's see if he's far enough. Very close. Across the 35-yard line. It's going to be up to where they marked the football.
It really looked like he might have made the catch and made the 1st down, and made the catch and made the 1st down, but by the time they get through marking the ball, it looks like they're going to have to measure it. It's going to be close. Watch Booza, number 85, released, bump off of Gray, number 25, come back for the football, and let's see where they mark it.
I think he, well, I don't know. I'm not going to guess. He did not get it, did he, Hank? Boy, that is a case of just where they marked the football. going to bring up a 4th down, and that is really a very tough break for the Colts because they would have had the 1st down, keep the football away from the Rams. Instead now, wait a minute, I think they're going to go for it.
Yeah, I think in this kind of a game, really, I think they have to go for it. It's less than a yard, and if you can't make less than a yard, I don't care where it is in the field, you're not going to win the game anyhow.
So they're going to go for it. 4th down.
Just inches.
Yep. Double tight end alignment.
In most cases, if the quarterback has any running ability, they usually use a quarterback sneak right over one of the guards because there's a lot of room there between the guards and the linebacker. Let's see what they do, though.
5:56 to go in the 1st half, and they're going to get it. Good second charge that time by George Wansley. Good blocking, too. And so on 4th down, the Colts will keep the football.
And watch the linebackers. They're off the ball quite a way, so the vulnerable area is over the left guard and left tackle, and they go right over the left guard where the hole was, and he's finally tackled by Newsom, along with Cromwell and some other folks inside. Mel Owens is also involved in play number 58.
Hank, that's no surprise they go left. They are a left-handed team with Hinton over there.
Yeah, they like Hinton, and justifiably so. He's a great offensive tackle.
So the 1st down for the Colts.
See if they throw now on 1st and 10.
As Wansley jumping into the slot position, now moving in motion. 1st down for the 38, McMillan. And McMillan, who they feel is as tough inside as anybody in the NFL running the ball, is not finding a lot of operating room. He gets across the 40 to the 42. The first game that this guy played in the NFL, he gained 146 yards rushing. But they haven't been getting the ball to him that much. And again, Hank, it's hard to establish a running game when you're trailing again, but they're trying to.
Yeah, well, you know, it's 21-7, and the Rams, after falling behind 7-0, have totally dominated the game. But, you know, you can't throw away the game plan and not run some and then throw the ball.
Number 42, 2nd down and 7.
Here's a counter play with a slow leak. Penetration.
McMillan trying to find some place to go. Might have gotten 2 yards on sheer determination.
Doug Reed got some penetration. Mel Owen, number 58, makes the tackle. Look at Reed. Gets the penetration. They slow it down, and Mel Owens, along with Eckern, make the tackle, number 55 and 58, respectively.
Well, Mel Owens, you know, he has ESP, so he knows where that play is going all the time, right?
That's right.
He's also a worldwide traveler.
Is that a new TV station?
I tell you, ESP would help you as a linebacker, wouldn't it? He's an exponent of that. 3rd down now, 6. Trudeau would like to keep this drive going. Protection is there, and it's incomplete. Wayne Capers, the intended receiver at the 36, just a little bit short on that one.
Watch Trudeau now. He's got ticklish feet. Watch him go back into the... Oh, I guess you don't see it. But he starts to do a little tap dance back there, and as a result, really is not set well enough to deliver the ball on the outside. Watch Trudeau, number 10, the quarterback. Watch his feet. Watch his... No, we don't have it. I'm sorry.
See, ticklish feet, what you used to call them happy feet, too, right?
You got to change the offense from time to time.
Here's the punt by Stark, who's been averaging 43 yards. This time, the return will bring it out to the 18-yard line. Sutton returning the ball. Dickerson likes to carry the football, and Hank talked to him yesterday and asked how many he'd like to have by the halfway point at half.
By halftime, I like to have at least 15 to 16 carries, at least by half, because by then you've kind of loosened up and you're feeling pretty good, and you kind of know how their defense is going to play. If you have 6 or 7 carries by halftime, you really don't know much about their defense, and they don't know much about you, and you really haven't had a chance to fill them out yet.
Well, Hankey's got 9 thus far. Bartkowski, quickly to Ron Brown, trying to get that speed to the outside. He makes it now to the 25-yard line.
Well, they had a little double dip on the outside there. They have Brown and Duckworth on the same side, close to each other. And Duckworth made a nice block downfield to provide Brown with an opportunity to cut the play back inside and make some yardage on the play.
2nd down and 2 now for the Rams. Coming into this ball game, the Rams dead last in passing. They just hadn't been able to get it together. But in this game, Bartkowski's starting to put the pieces together.
Well, it's fun. It's fun to be quarterback when you got 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, and that's what they have. And you say instead of doing it the hard way, they've got another way to get it done.
Here's one way to get it done. Look at this, Dickerson. And again, Hank, he just moves the pile. People hit him, and he just keeps rolling up the field. He has a first down. Tate Randall was on the receiving end of that blow from Eric Dickerson. Miami, Oklahoma. I tell you, if you were a matchmaker, you couldn't ask for a better football game. #1 and #2 ranked team in the country. Vinny Testaverde. You know, I wonder if they can protect him, that Oklahoma rush.
That's the thing, you know, and I think usually in college football, the team that runs the better of the two teams usually wins the game. And of course, Oklahoma, as I mentioned to you, they have fantastic speed, and it's very difficult to defend speed.
On a first down run this time, out to the 41 come the Rams. That was Barry Redden. John Robinson probably is the perfect coach for Eric Dickerson, coming from that USC tailback sweep background and giving Dickerson a lot of work. The 2-minute warning is here. The Rams on top by 14. The Rams with a 21-7 lead as we've just completed the 2-minute warning. Been a lot of talk this year, Coach, about whether you should carry 2 or 3 quarterbacks due to the 45-man roster. We did a little research. 12 teams have kept 3.
You know, I personally think that the league should intervene and say every team, I don't care what you do with the other positions, every team must have 3 quarterbacks on their football team. I think, you know, a franchise is worth $70 million, whatever they're worth, and you don't have a 3rd quarterback is ridiculous because 2 quarterbacks go down, and what do you have? The game's over. You can't play the game. I remember one year in Kansas City, we lost Lenny Dawson, and then the next week, and Jackie Lee went down with a broken leg. We thought we were very secure at the quarterback position, and we lost 2 of them in 2 weeks. So then we had to get John Ewart and Tom Flores, and were able to go on the rest of the season and wound up going into the Super Bowl game and winning it. But I just think it's a must. You must have 3 quarterbacks.
Well, the Rams are keeping 2. They have 6 if you look at their injured reserve list. At halftime, Brent, Will McDonough, and the Snake, Ken Stabler, with scores and highlights. And then we have a feature on Napoleon McCallum, the former midshipman who is now playing for the Los Angeles Raiders.
You know, talking about quarterbacks, they told us yesterday, the Rams did, that they have given permission to Bob Wolf, the agent for Doug Flutie, to look elsewhere for an opportunity to play in the National Football League, and then they'll come back and see what they can do about the situation.
Well, see, they have Bartkowski, they have Dills, they have Dieter Brock, who's on the injured list, they have Hugh Millen, draft pick out of Washington, along with Flutie. So those are 6 guys, and as you mentioned, Flutie will not be playing for Los Angeles. There's Dills. He's a holder on all the placements out of Stanford. 3rd down and 9 now with 1:49 left in the first half.
Now here again, they got a situation. They're going to run that counter trap again.
And Dickerson will be snowed under at the 41, and so the Colts will get the football.
See, they try to deceive him a little bit. They like to throw that ball from a normal set or the I formation. That time they use it from the shotgun. He takes the ball from the shotgun, off the off guard, and the off tackle are pulling on the play. No place to go. And as a result, they don't succeed in making the necessary yardage, and now they're going to kick the ball away.
The NFL today coming up next. And, of course, later, Game 2, New Orleans, San Francisco. Again, reminding you that Los Angeles, San Diego, and Indianapolis will not see this game because of the NFL blackout rule. And so 4th down and 7 now for the Rams. The Colts called a timeout quickly to stop the clock, try to use all the time they can to get something back on the board. And there's a strategy being mapped between Dowhauer and Jack Trudeau.
See, if I were the Colts, really, I would go into my 2-minute offense long before now to try to disrupt the tempo and change the personnel of the game a little bit and try to make something happen. You don't have to wait till the last 2 minutes to use your 2-minute offense.
Trudeau was rated the number 3 quarterback coming out of the draft, behind Everett and Chuck Long. As Hatcher will punt the football. This is Brooks back deep. Got 10 men up there. They have all the actions of coming after him. Let's see. Skipped on one bounce, and I don't know how they missed that one. How he got that punt off, I'll never know. And so it's going to take a Ram bounce, and it's going to go dead to the 18-yard line. How in the world did he get that off?
That looked like a screen pass instead of punt protection. Everybody was through there.
41-yard punt.
Look, it skips it off. He'd be a great shortstop, wouldn't he? And got it right through the hole. And there's a great illustration. See, the rushing linemen and linebackers that time got too much penetration. Had they gone across his foot about a yard and a half in front of the ball, they'd have blocked that kick. He kicked right underneath everything.
He missed everybody.
It's hard to do.
It is.
That's pretty accurate.
Ended up being a 41-yard punt. And so the Colts don't get the field position they thought they were going to get, with 1:29 now left in this first half. From the shotgun, Trudeau. Colts trailing 21-7, sets up the screen, complete to Owen Gill. Gill will get the first down and get out of bounds to stop the clock. Nice running that time by Owen Gill, who was a second-round draft pick of the Seahawks, was waived a year ago and ended up with Indianapolis.
Reggie Doss was providing good pressure. The play was perfect because they got a good rush and the screen. They did a good job of acting, the quarterback and also the running back. And as a result, they were able to operate the screen very, very well and pick up a nice gain.
First down now, out to the 29. 1:21 left now in this first half. Trudeau is 5 of 10 for 34 yards. And this time, everyone was covered. He looked to Owen Gill again, but Gill was very well covered by the linebacker, Mike Wilcher. That'll stop the clock with 1:16. Well, Trudeau is 5 of 11. That's exactly what he was last week when he came in a relief role against Miami. And your assessment thus far of the rookie?
Oh, on a scale of 10, probably 5.
5?
Probably 5. Probably 5. He's thrown some bad balls. Some of the things that have happened were not his fault. But basically, I think overall he's a 5.
Is that a keeper? You're 5?
Well, to start with, you got to start someplace.
That's
You're
right.
certainly not going to start at 10 when you're playing your first pro game in the National Football League.
That time he tried to hit Bentley. It's incomplete with 1:09 now.
You know, talking to him about the responsibility of being a quarterback in the National Football League, you know, everybody knows this. It's obvious. There's so many different kinds of coverage in the National League. In college football, you know, they have basically a zone, a little bit man for man, so he kind of anticipates what's going to happen. Now he's got to go back into the pocket, read coverages, and try to figure out what's going to happen. And plus that, he has to pick out the right receiver. It's a big responsibility for a young quarterback, even though he has thrown so many balls in college.
Thus far, the Colts 0 for 5 on third down conversions. And this is a 3rd and 10.
See, now they give him a double zone from a man-to-man look.
And the pass is there. Catch is by Capers. Very close to a first down. Johnny Johnson, the nickelback, up there to make the stop. And I believe they got it this time. They do. They have a first down.
Now he threw that one very well, you see. And that's the thing you have to do. When you throw inside, you got to throw the ball at the numbers. If it bounces, it's going to bounce down and not up. You throw it above the numbers, up by the head or above the head. If you don't catch it, it's a tipping drill. Defense has the ball.
There's Capers again. And that will stop the clock with 44 seconds. And we'll bring up a second down now. Long 3 to go. The ball at the 45, maybe at the 46.5-yard line.
I think the other thing is very obvious. I think a kid like Trudeau, who was playing his first game, the longer he's in the action, the more he throws the ball, the better he's going to be.
Isn't it interesting, though, Hank, how a guy will not be very effective? You go to your 2-minute offense and everything starts to happen.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why I mentioned earlier. I don't know why they don't do that earlier. Why do they wait till the 2-minute time to go into their 2-minute offense? Why don't you do it earlier and try to make something happen? That time the right tackle, Kevin Call, was offside.
Second down.
Kevin Call, they call him the Creature. He's 6'7", 293 pounds, third-year man out of Colorado State. This is his first year as a starter at that right offensive tackle. Good pass blocker, but that time he backpedaled before the snap. Second down now. Long throw to Capers. He comes back to the ball, and he dropped it. He had the inside on Leroy Irvin, and it looks like he should have had that one.
I think Irvin might have touched the ball right at the last second, but those kind of passes are the ones that usually succeed because it was thrown short. He's got some time. Look, he steps and throws, follow through, gets it downfield, and it looks like at the last second it was a little short. It looked like Irvin No, did he? It's
Well,
hard to tell.
yeah, I think he hit it, Hank, after it bounced off his shoulder pad there.
That could have been what happened, but he responded very well to the ball that was thrown short.
Capers, former Pittsburgh Steeler, who's been a big play receiver for him, brings up third down now. 8 yards to go. Trudeau on target. Catch is made, and that'll be another first down to the 45. That's Bill Brooks, who last year had 79 catches for Boston University, and Trudeau is looking the best he's looked all day long.
And you know why? It's never an accident. He's got time to throw the ball. They're dropping back 8 people, keeping everybody in front of the defensive backs and linebackers, and they say, go ahead, move the ball down slowly, and by the time you get there, school will be out, or else you're going to make a mistake, and that's where they're playing. And as a result, he's got plenty of time to throw the ball, and he's a lot more secure and feels a lot better about what's happening.
It may give him some impetus for next week. They've run out of timeouts, however, and we're at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, a beautiful facility. A crowd of better than 60,000 on hand as the Rams lead the Colts 21-7 with 26 seconds to go in this first half. I'm Gary Bender along with Hank Stram as you look at Rod Dowhauer along with his rookie, Jack Trudeau.
And I think the other thing is I think they got to worry about the second half before they start worrying about next week, Gary. And I think that's going to be interesting to see after having, kind of a surge right before the half, how or what he does in the second half as far as the passing aspect of it is concerned.
Boy, what a tough early schedule they have. 5 heavies. Next week it's the Jets. Of course, they opened up the season having to play the likes of New England and Miami. In fact, the Colts have as tough a schedule as anybody in the NFL. First down now.
Well, now they got a 4-man line, and they're blitzing. Control blitz makes a difference.
Yeah, and Trudeau dragged down that time. Tried to hit Owen Gill to the near side. That was Kevin Green, number 91, who they move up at a defensive end spot when they come into that pass rush situation. And so it's going to bring up second down. He was able to get rid of it, but paid for it.
People sometimes wonder, they say, how in the world can a quarterback look so good on one play and so bad on the other? There was a typical example of it. You see, you don't have time enough to throw the ball. They see the ball fly up in the air. They don't see what happens to the quarterback.
Trudeau will tell you what happened to him. He got horse-collared and dropped. Second down 10 now, just inside the 45. And here is a little draw handoff to Albert Bentley trying to cross him up, and it didn't work, and it's third down. They're going to have to hurry. They have no timeouts. They're coming in to attempt a field goal. They have no timeouts. They've got to hurry. This would be a 60-yard field goal if Biasucci can hit it, and it's going to be way short.
See, without a timeout, it takes about 18 seconds to get your kicking team on the field, and you hurried everything, and as a result, the process really suffers.
Now, this may not be over yet. We have a penalty flag. Maybe they didn't have the right number of people on the field. John Robinson is checking to see if he could very easily gotten caught that time with too many people on the field.
John looks like he's playing man-for-man coverage there with his hands. He looks like he's playing bump and run.
Well, that's the end of the first half.
There is no foul.
And so that's the end of the first half with the score here in the Hoosier Dome. The Los Angeles Rams 21, the Indianapolis Colts 7. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. Michelob Light, super premium taste and less filling beer. And by United Airlines. You're not just flying, you're flying the friendly skies. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mitsubishi Motors. Experience the sensation of the all-new trucks from Mitsubishi. Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. And by GTE. GTE. The Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, the home of the Colts. And the Colts at the halfway point, trailing in this game 21-7. And the Colts will be receiving the kickoff as we begin the second half of play. I thought, Hank, that even though the Colts trail by 14, they may have gotten a little encouragement at the end of that first half. When they went to that 2-minute offense, Trudeau looked a lot sharper and the team looked better.
Yes, I think that always is going to be very beneficial. But, of course, you have to understand the defensive personality of the Rams was totally different. You know, they were dropping people off. He had plenty of time to throw the ball. And if he has time to throw the ball, it's going to be very effective. The problem is that he hasn't had that good of protection.
And so the Colts will send Albert Bentley back to the goal line as Lansford will be kicking off. He hits this one very well. Bentley at the goal line. Out to the 20. He had a little alley there for a while and is able to convert it to a return to the 25-yard line before Steve Busick over there to make the stop. Busick, the guy they picked up from the Denver Broncos, a very welcome addition to this team for a pair of draft picks.
And the nice thing about Busick is the fact that he played for Johnny Robinson to Southern Cal. He knows the system, fits in perfectly. And I think for that reason, along with his ability and skill, he's going to make the Rams even a better team defensively.
There's Trudeau's stats in that first half, throwing the one interception. Gary Hogeboom was hurt last week in the Miami game, separated his shoulder. He hasn't been counted out for the whole year yet.
I talked to him on the sideline before the game. He was very excited about being able to be on the sideline. Disappointed that he can't play, but of course he says he's going to do everything he can to help Jack during the course of this contest and the rest of the season.
Jack on first down throwing, had a lot of time, and he's on target to Matt Bouza. And Bouza's into the Los Angeles end of the field. Beautifully thrown, but more importantly, Hank, they held him out that time.
And he's capable, you see. If he has time to throw the ball, like most good quarterbacks, he's going to get the ball there. See, now he fakes a play action, slows down the rush a little bit, but he's able to step up into the pocket, barely got rid of the ball. He still got a shot. Owens made the tackle, or gave him a shot after he threw the ball, but he still got it down to field in good shape.
25-yard pickup on the play. Wansley chugs forward for a couple of yards. DeJournay, number 70, who seems to just be ageless. He's 34 years of age, played 6 years with the Chargers, and played 2 years in the World Football League, believe it or not, for the Southern California Sun. DeJournay, number 70, the nose tackle.
Well, the great thing about this team is the fact that they know they all have a role, they all have a responsibility, they know what it is, and they perform.
It's going to bring up now, second down, 9 yards to go. Wansley picking up a yard on that last play.
This team likes to draw a lot. Whether they'll draw here or not, I don't know, but they like to draw.
There's the play action fake. Pressure being put on. Wiltshire coming in. A give to Wansley, and Wansley on the pass reception, gobbled up in a hurry. Excellent reaction. Coming over there was Giroux to make the stop, but it was Wiltshire who was storming through, and they're going to lose 4 yards.
And that time they faked the draw play and didn't get away with it, trying to throw the ball from a draw fake.
Giroux has really done a very good job. For those of you not familiar with the Rams, he's playing in place of Jim Collins, their outstanding linebacker who has nerve damage in his shoulder, who they hope to get back before this year is over. There's Giroux out of Washington. Played for Don James. He was the most valuable player in the Rose Bowl in 1980. Third down now, 17.
Four-man rush.
From the shotgun, Trudeau. He's going to have to scramble out of there, and he's going to be caught from behind, and that's Gary Jeter. Jeter last year had 11 sacks for the Rams.
Now, I don't know what he did there. I didn't see what move he made that time, but Hinton did not block him. It looked like that was his responsibility. See him come over from the right side, but you don't see how he got there. There he is. But he had to beat Chris Hinton on the play.
Well, they're going the wrong direction now. Another loss, 14 yards this time. Stark to punt on fourth down. And he hit Nicholson. Back is Sutton, still going back to the 16. The Colts don't have him yet, and now they do. At the 15-yard line is where the Rams will have it. And Ron Stark, when one of those patented punts of his, really got into that one. And the Rams will have the football. For 11 years, Steve Bartkowski played with Atlanta. Now he's moved to the Rams, and he talks about that offensive line he's behind.
These guys are great. They've had several guys make several trips to the Pro Bowl. They push people around. They bully people. They want to dominate. That's their frame of mind, and it's great to stand behind that kind of a group.
Well, this guy's always had courage, Hank. 5 knee operations, though. It takes a toll.
Well, the nice thing about it is a lot of guys have courage, but some of them don't have the ability to throw the ball like this guy. That's the important thing. He can throw along with it.
That's a good point. First down for the 15. This is Dickerson. Oh, look at him. Is he something to watch? He brings it out to 24. He just glides, doesn't he, when he gets that knee action going. He's something special.
Student body right. That's what they used to call it.
Ball at the 25.
Here you see, the play is designed to go outside, but he takes whatever he can get. He cuts inside, sees the cavity, takes advantage of it, and makes enough yardage for a close game of first down, 1 yard short.
He set a Ram record, 38 carries in the first game. Has 12 already today. Loves the work. He feels he gets stronger as the game wears on, as Red comes in motion. Second down, a yard to go. They've got the first down as Dickerson across the 30 to the 31. Hank, an interesting story about Dickerson. You know, John McKay used to tell O.J. Simpson, he says, I don't know why you can't carry the ball 25, 30 times. That ball ain't heavy.
Gain of 6 yards.
And Dickerson has certainly been a durable player. We have a man shaken up right now for the Rams. That's Dennis Hara, their all-pro guard. We'll be back to check his status in just a moment. Very happy to report that Dennis Hara, you can see him now up, walked off the field. Looks like he's going to be okay. The older statesman of that offensive line.
Good time to throw the ball right here. They got one-on-one coverage. Here it is.
On a first down, and he dumps it short. Catch is made by Dickerson. He fumbled the ball. It may have been blown dead. Dickerson then able to gobble it back up at the 34-yard line. Barry Krause, who had 6 tackles in the first half, was there to make that stop. This is the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, the first trip ever to Indianapolis by the Los Angeles Rams. And after the Rams trailed early 7-0, they took a 21-7 halftime lead. We have 10.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Rams have it, second down 7. And Dennis Hara has come back in at guard, and that's good news for John Robinson and the Rams. I'm Gary Bender along with Hank Stram. Glad to have you with us.
To that right side again now. There it is.
Hardkowski on target to his tight end, David Hill, and Hill looks like he fell forward for the first down. He did. First down, Los Angeles. Hill is known more for his blocking, holding his hand there. Looked like he may have injured it. And but John Robinson told us something interesting. He says Hill is such a good blocker, you forget to get Tony Hunter in there sometimes.
Well, especially when you're running the ball as well as they like to run the ball. But I think they're trying to break that habit and they have to get Hunter in the ball game to win consistently, I think, during the course of the season. He's too great an athlete not to be deeply involved in the contest.
First down now. Hardkowski on target again. This is Michael Young, and Young is very close to another first down across the 50. Young had a great catch last week that was ruled not a completion. He is an acrobatic type receiver, played for Terry Donahue at UCLA, and it's going to be second down and a yard to go.
With the way the defensive backs are playing, you know, you almost have to put a mask on the quarterbacks like Steelan.
Okay. From the 49 now, a yard to go. Bartkowski, you never know that he had struggled, would you, the way he's playing today?
Well, you hate to belabor the point, but again, he's too great a quarterback, and if he's got pass protection, he's going to shoot your eyes out.
This time back, he's got a down to play with, 2nd and 1. Duckworth, the intended receiver, he overthrew him. That's Duckworth's forte. He loves to go deep. Bart a little upset at himself. He let him too much.
I think what happens, when you got a lightning guy like Brown on one side, Duckworth is more of a move, possession kind of a pass receiver. If you try to throw to Brown, you got to be careful you don't let him get down there too fast and you can't reach him, so you throw a little bit sooner. And I think you get in the habit sometimes of throwing the same way to the other guy. And that time he threw too long, and it was way over the top and falls incomplete.
So they're going to bring in a couple of tight ends now on this 3rd and 1 as both Duckworth and Brown check out of the ball game. Short yardage at the 8:45 mark of the third quarter. That's Hunter in motion. Dickerson, and it wasn't easy, was it? Spinning around.
You talk about the opportunity to make big plays. I was kind of hoping that time that they maybe would run a play-action pass. Had they run it, or when they do that, as the season progresses, they're going to make some big plays because they're ganged up so tight. Worried about Dickerson, you fake inside and dump the ball outside. It could be the bye-bye blues. It could be all over. Big play.
They're going to measure. The interesting thing, Hank, that you were talking about is the Rams know who they are, though. They know how to win, and they don't do anything fancy on defense. They just go out and stay within their personality.
Well, I think, that's a great compliment to John and his coaching staff, but it has to start with John I think he knows exactly what he wants to do and how he's going to get it done. He doesn't deviate from the plan. You know, for example, we all like to imitate successful people, and a lot of teams in the league, you know, for example, the Chicago Bears were very successful last year with a 46 and a pressing kind of a defense, and so then all of a sudden, you know, everybody wants to do that, even if maybe they don't have the personnel to do it, and that's when they get killed. John is never going to do that. You know, he's going to keep his feet in the fire. He's going to survey the situation very carefully, and he's going to continue to do what he knows they can do.
They got the first down, and let's look thus far. They're doing a very good job on the pass on first down. Look at that, 9.1.
Well, that's what's going to help them tremendously as they go along, because people will have to worry about a lot more things: the screen, the draw, the run, the sweep, all those kind of things, instead of just basically run. Boy, look at all the room we got over here on the left side again. Look at this one-on-one. They're rotated to the strong side. Good time to do a little business on the left side.
And that business is going to go left, just like you called it. Here it comes. Dickerson.
Yeah.
He's out of bounds, but you can see why they want to throw to him. He looks like a wide receiver on that play. So we're going to be back here on a 2nd and 10, but right now, let's go to New York and Brent.
Well, Gary and Hank, the Atlanta Falcons, have snapped back in the second half. Archer hits Wisenhunt, his first NFL touchdown. They trail the Cowboys by a point. And as Hank Stram might say, Gary Bender, yeah.
So Atlanta hanging tough against Dallas. This is the 9th play coming up on this drive. It's 2nd down 10 from the 48-yard line of Indianapolis. Charles White in the backfield with Redden. And they give it straight ahead to Redden, and Redden may have gotten to the 45. They had to take Dickerson out of there after that long fly pattern, give him a blow. So it's now 3rd down and some unhappy people. Dwayne Bickett in particular, number 50 out of USC. He and Tony Hunter getting into it.
Now they revert back to what they like to do on long passing situations, a trap play, but they plug it very well. Barry Krause, number 55, is in on the tackle. But overall, the defense responded very well to the trap play, and there's a boys will be boys deal there. Nothing.
Maybe that goes back to that USC Notre Dame rivalry. Those two got squaring off against each other again. Here we go, 3rd down 10. The crowd now, for the first time, getting into the game. They've been very quiet since early in the first quarter.
Now Hunter's lined up in the backfield this time. Let's see if they do a little business with him.
In motion comes Michael Young. Bartkowski back on 3rd and 8.
There he is.
And Hunter's got it. He's got a first down, and they are now to the 32-yard line of the Colts. John Holt making the stop.
See, Hunter this time is lined up in the backfield, and he's such a big, strong receiver that they're trying to match him up with the inside with a linebacker or a defensive back, a small defensive back, which they do, and it's hard, see, for that little defensive back to drag him down, especially in the open field.
Because Hunter is 6'4", 237. He had 50 catches a year ago, a career high.
People ask, how do you stop that? You better get in a very, very wide stance.
Gain some weight or something. From the 32 now, first down. The Rams with 17 of them.
Now they've thrown the ball some on 1st and 10. This would be a good time for a draw play. They haven't run many draw plays at all.
Bartkowski on that 3rd and 8, keeping the drive going.
There it is.
Here's Dickerson. And Dickerson will be wrestled down at the 27 by Barry Krause. And now we have Tate Randall getting into it, number 35. And I didn't see who the Ram is. Looks like it might have been Barry Redden. And now the helmets come off. Barry Krause has his helmet off. A frustrated Colt team right now.
It's very surprising for an experienced veteran to take his hat off in this kind of a situation. The one thing you want to do is look around, make sure you got your hat on, and then try to get into the fracas.
Boy, what an arsenal the Rams have. You go on a long pass, come back to Dickerson, you can hit him so many ways.
That's the key. Watch what happens here. Watch Barry Krause. He grabs the arm and is tugging on the arm, spins him around, throws him to the turf. Let's see what happens now. They're trying to take the ball away from him.
That's Tate Randall.
Yeah, Tate Randall. Nothing other than the taffy pull, that's all.
I'll tell you, Krause didn't take his helmet off. Somebody else did.
Yeah, knocked it off for him.
2nd down now, 6. Bartkowski, that'll be on the hop, incomplete. Intended for Ron Brown.
Well, he threw that purposely, I think, that way because the defensive back, Coleman, had inside leverage on the receiver, and he didn't want to take a chance of getting it intercepted, and he threw it right into the turf.
Third down again. Third down and 6. Bartkowski, remarkable games he had when he played for Atlanta. He's thrown for over 23,000 yards in his 11-year career. Took the Atlanta Falcons to 2 playoffs. Last year cut after 5 games, and now the starting Ram quarterback.
They got a one-on-one over here on Duckworth. Let's see where they try to do business.
On a third down 6. Nice snap.
Draw. There's a draw.
Dickerson has the first down. So let's leave Indianapolis back to New York and Brent.
Well, Gary Bender and Hank Stram, the drama continues to unfold down in Dallas. Another Cowboy turnover. Butler intercepts the Danny White pass and goes the distance, 33 yards, and now the Falcons lead the Cowboys 27-21. Back to Gary and Hank.
Okay, Brent, what a shootout they're having there, the Cowboys and Falcons. Keep you updated on that. As this game now, we have a measurement coming up on that last draw. I thought Dickerson had it. Now they're going to measure.
You know, talk about Atlanta. I think Marion Campbell has had a great effect on their defensive scheme. They have really never had a solid defensive approach. I think they have one now, and I think it's going to pay off for them because they've got a great, big, strong offensive line, great running backs, fine young quarterback, good receivers. They've got a chance to be a very good team.
Don't forget, coming up next, Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Those of you in San Francisco area will see the 49ers take on the Saints. The rest of you will be watching the Giants and the Raiders. And again, those of you in Los Angeles, San Diego, and Indianapolis will not see the second game because of the NFL blackout rule.
If they run the ball, they might do something to the right. Oh, now they change the alignment of the backfield.
On a first down, here comes Dickerson. 10, and he'll go out of bounds at the 6-yard line. He's on his way to another 100-yard day. Tom Newberry threw a very fine block on that play.
Yeah. Watch Pankey. Pankey 75 and Newberry both come off the ball in good shape. Here they come. Look at Pankey. Knocks the defensive end out. Newberry takes a linebacker in. A lot of running room, and of course the rest is all up to Dickerson, and he gets the most he can out of the play.
Duckworth did a good job that time, kind of screening the guy.
Yes, he did.
Too.
Getting in the way. That's right.
First and goal now.
See if they throw up on top here against this bump and run with kind of a fade pattern.
First
there
and
they
goal
go.
from the 7.
There they go.
That's
There
your
they
call,
go.
and Brown can't get to it, but you had it called all the way, Coach. That's that old story of speed. You just try to time it. That time missing on the connection.
This play has to be thrown perfectly, man-for-man coverage. You got to throw it over the top. You want it over the outside shoulder, not the inside, but the outside shoulder, and that's exactly where it is. But he loses it, and of course he throws it beyond the receiver. He has no chance to make the catch.
Ron Brown was a defensive back at Arizona State his first 3 years. Then they moved him to wide receiver. Drafted by Cleveland in the 2nd round, acquired by trade, and what a future he has ahead of him. Second and goal from the 7, Redden. He'll make it to the 5. It'll be 3rd and goal there. Harvey Armstrong, number 79, the former Philadelphia Eagle, was in there. This is the 16th play, taking over 7 minutes on this drive, Hank. Eating up the clock.
And that's what you like. You say they do it with a combination of the pass and the run. And, you know, you keep that other offense off the field, and that's exactly what you like.
Well, John Robinson, after a shaky beginning where they fumbled the opening kickoff and trailed 7-0, has really had his team in control of this game, playing like the undefeated team that they are.
I think that's a great tribute because I think the toughest thing for a good football team to do is to win consistently against the teams that they're supposed to beat. And this team is doing that this afternoon.
Especially after an emotional win over the 49ers. I think we have a delay of game. I don't think they got the ball snapped in time, and now some unhappiness by Armstrong again. There's no time showing on the 30-second clock. I'm assuming that we have a delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense.
Well, that's costly when you're that close.
Yeah, you don't want that to happen. You surely don't want that to happen. It shouldn't happen. But again, you know, with all the things that are going on during the course of the game, you never know whether the coaches get to play in on time, you see. Now, there you see Bruce Snyder trying to get the ball in, which means whether it's going to be a run or pass. He calls the runs, and Dick Corey calls the passes.
Now, why wouldn't somebody up here in the press box for the opposing team now whistle down, hey, this is a run for sure, because they know one's
no. They either Corey can call a run or the other guy can call a run, signal the play in. The question who calls it. You see.
All right. Here we go now. 3rd down goal, now at the 10. Here's Dickerson. to the 5, and Dickerson is to about the 3, where it's going to be 4th and goal.
That's really a good call. The draw play in this area of the field, the perfect play for a draw play is on the 8-yard line, because in all probability there can be man-for-man coverage. Saying by the time they recover, you're already in the end zone. Now you're about 3 yards short. You're running this draw play from about the 11 or 12, and you see you quite don't get there. 8-yard line in, if it opens, you're going to go in and change the scoreboard.
Well, the draw play looks a little better when you have number 29 doing it,
well,
too.
It does, and it looks a lot better when they're blocking up front. Newberry that time was pulling on the play. It was a draw trap, and he didn't even have to trap the defensive end because he came up the field.
Lansford will attempt a 20-yard field goal. He's 4 of 5 for the year in the field goal kicking department. Holding his Dills, he missed it. He missed the ball, Hank.
No, he didn't miss the ball. He saw the rushers, and he was afraid to kick and hurt his foot and follow through. I think that's what happened. He started and stopped. Let's take a look at it.
I got to see this again.
No, when you're barefooted, you got to be careful. You see the guy's got. Watch what happens here. Now let's see. Maybe I'm completely wrong. No, he stops. You see, he stopped. He saw 38 coming across there, and I think he was afraid to follow through and get hurt, so he didn't kick the ball. I don't know. Let's take a look at it again.
I've never seen that before.
No, watch it now. Let's see. Watch 38 coming across there. See, he stops. Now, it might have been that the ball was not placed properly, too. I couldn't see that for sure. Let's look at the hole. That might be the problem.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
Sure. It looked like it had peanut butter on the end of the ball. It slid right off the mark. That's where the problem was.
That's Dills who was trying to hold it. He didn't get it down.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Lansford almost did get his foot stepped on.
Well, that's what can happen to you, especially when you're barefooted. You follow through when the guy's right in your face.
I talked to him.
All of a sudden, you walk around like you're Chester.
I talked to Lansford yesterday about why he kicks barefooted, and he said because he can get his foot under the ball much better. He doesn't have the cleats to impede that approach to the ball, but he also says when it gets cold, he breaks blood vessels sometimes, and that foot will get black and blue.
Well, the other reason, of course, really, is the fact that he got blisters, kind of a callus on his foot with shoes, and he decided to take off the shoe, kick barefooted.
Anyway, let's look ahead to this game next Saturday, Oklahoma-Miami. Mark the time down, 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern. The Sooners and Miami, 1 and 2 in the country, and that could go a long ways in deciding the national championship.
Incidentally, you know who the first barefooted place kicker was in the history of football?
No.
Joe Kulikakui.
Who?
Joe Kulikakui from Hawaii. That's right.
Who did he play for?
University of Hawaii.
I guess I should have guessed that. He didn't play in the NFL, though.
No.
Okay. Anyway, there it is. He's got the callus. He has a little calcium deposit on the top of his foot. But he says that foot will get black and blue when he breaks those blood vessels. I don't know. I just never could understand anybody trying to kick without a shoe. You either got to be tough or what?
That's right. Well, we never had to worry about that when I was at Purdue because the alumni did all the kicking.
From the 9-yard line now, the Colts dodged a bullet. 21-7 the count now in favor of the Rams. Look at this, a little toss back to Trudeau. He's going to get rid of it. He gets away from the safety, throws it up to Pat Beach, the tight end, and he gets out across the 15 to the 17-yard line.
Well, that's an unusual place to run that play, but it certainly would be surprising. Kind of a recess football play here. The old flea flicker. Watch it. Gives it to the fullback, tosses it back to Trudeau. A little high. See, he's got a lot of time, but he's waiting for somebody to get open. Finally, there's penetration. He has to escape the penetration. Finally dumps the ball out into the flat. Looked like it could have been a safety.
Okay, Trudeau showed some pretty niftiness that time, avoiding the safety.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, it's going to be a pickup of 8. It'll be 2nd down 2. This time it's Randy McMillan, and McMillan appears to have the first down at the 20-yard line. You know something, Hank? That missed field goal attempt may have given the Colts a new life. You get the feeling the crowd's back into this one.
I think they are, really, but I think realistically, I don't think it's going to make that much difference, really, in the outcome of the game. I think the Rams have too much wood. I think they're just too good a football team, and they're going to keep sawing wood and make them bleed for everything they get. And I don't think the missed field goal, you don't like for it to happen, but it's not going to make any difference in the outcome of this game.
You don't think any transfusions will help then?
No, I don't think so. Might have to call the fire department.
Anyway, it's a first down for the Colts from the 20-yard line. Trudeau with time, and McMillan makes a nice catch, but he's just going to get back to the line of scrimmage if he did that. DeJournay, again, the 34-year-old veteran over there, very agile on that play, able to flag him down, and they lost about a half yard on the play. It's going to bring up a second down. 2 minutes now left in this third quarter. It'll be second down, and let's make it 11 yards to go. Donaldson comes out over the center. He's the anchor, the most consistent lineman they've had. 7-year man out of Georgia, and their most valuable player a year ago. On the second and 11, Trudeau to Beach. Beach is gobbled up in a hurry. That's Nolan Cromwell, the cagey, strong safety, up to make the stop. And so they only picked up 3 yards on the play.
You know, they have a good, I talked about this earlier, but they have such a great concept defensively. They got the people to execute the personality of this defense, but they just, you know, they don't give you anything. They don't get out of position. They don't slant one way or slant the other way, then have a big play occur or play bump and run. A lot of people blitzing and then have a big play. They just make you earn everything, and they keep everything in front, and it's tough to do business on this defense.
That's Fritz Schumer, who is the defensive coordinator, who's the guy you were talking about that has him seemingly in the right place all the time.
That's right. He does a great job.
Third down, 7. Trudeau's going to go down again. And quickly. Spun down that time by Mel Owens. And Trudeau went down in kind of an awkward position.
He did. It looked like they made a wish.
They have one other quarterback. That's Blair Keel, who they signed this week, and he grabbed his left knee that time.
Yeah. And he's got a brace on that knee.
There's Keel.
He hurt it in an all-star game last year. And watching him practice, he had a big brace on the knee.
Hurt it at Japan Bowl, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Keel may be the quarterback. Indianapolis is fast running out of him. We come back, and Ron Stark just put another one high above the crowd here. A beautiful punt. Fielded by Sutton. Pat Beach is down to make the stop. Trudeau, during that break away from you a while ago, came walking off the field on his own. There he is. Whether he'll be able to continue, we don't know yet. We'll be back with the Rams leading it by 14.
Ball spotted at the 33-yard line.
Eric Dickerson has gained over 5,000 yards in 3 seasons. He likes to carry the ball.
I like to carry the ball at least 26 to 27 times. I think by then I've got the feel of the game, and I think the second half is when I'm my best, and I like to get the ball late in the game.
Hank, I think it's interesting. A lot of your good running backs, they just feel the other guys are going to be more tired than they are, that they're going to get stronger.
But I think, you know, overall, all the great backs that you talk to, and I've said this many times because I've talked to so many of the great backs, Campbell and Dickerson and all those great runners, and they all say that they have to carry the ball about 15, 16 times before they really get in the flow of the game. And then they get stronger and stronger and better as the game progresses. And that's so true.
From the 33, Dickerson gets another effort, and Dwayne Bickett was standing there ready to meet him. Bickett, the Associated Press NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, #1 draft pick out of USC. And so we're going to come to the end of this third quarter. We've had no scoring. The Rams botched a field goal attempt. The Colts, after taking an early 7-0 lead, have not been able to get it going. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Rams 21, the Colts 7. We now pause for a word from your local station. CBS sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Dodge, setting new standards of performance. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else? Gary Bender, Hank Stram, we're ready to begin the fourth quarter of play. The Rams leading at 21-7. They have a second down 9 at their own 34-yard line. Only one wide out on this play. That's Ron Brown, split to the near side. Running backs, Redden and Dickerson. Markowski will go to the far side to Barry Redden, who had 4 catches last week, and he brings it across the 35 to the 37-yard line. It'll bring up a third down, and John Hand, number 78, the #1 draft pick out of Alabama, over to make the stop. It'll be 3rd and 6. John Hand Always liked Bubba Smith, and he was in Stroker Ace as his stand-in this year, Hank.
You know, and talking about Bubba Smith, I never told this story before, but when he was a senior in college and I was in Kansas City, we brought him to Nashville, Tennessee at the Hotel Noel. Lloyd Wells, who he called out of sight, brought him to the hotel, and we signed him with our football team. He was all ready to play for us, except that the merger came, and then he had to go into the draft, and we lost him to the Baltimore Colts.
Boy, you lost a great one. There's a pass to Tony Hunter, but it's not going to be enough for the first down. It's 4th down.
And we call Lloyd Wells out of sight because every time I talked to him about a prospect, he said, "Coach, he is out of sight."
He'd played a lot longer if he hadn't torn up that knee on the sideline play.
Oh, he was a great player. He was a dominant player for a
And
long time.
John Hand wears the same number Bubba Smith wore, 78. They still haven't gotten the pass rush from Hand they'd like, as he's not been able to pick up a sack in the preseason or the regular season. As Hatcher now moving around, expecting some pressure. On a 4th and 4. Here they come. They don't get him again, but some pretty good pressure on him. Very high. Brooks makes the fair catch at the 22-yard line. So with 13:29 left to go in this game, the Colts, they'd like to get something going. Don't forget, Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader, the Giants and the Raiders. Mark Wilson will not be playing in the game. Jim Plunkett will be starting, but this guy will be there. He always ready to answer the bell. Marcus Allen, the MVP in the NFL. Bill Parcells, Giants, with that rugged defense and also a very fine quarterback in Phil Simms. As the Giants will try to give the Raiders their 3rd setback in as many outings. That's coming up next. Giants and Raiders. Los Angeles, San Diego, and Indianapolis will not see it because of the NFL blackout rule. Blair Keel is the quarterback now. He strikes it out with a pass complete to Boyer for the first down. Blair Keel is from Indiana. Columbus, Indiana, nearby. Played at Notre Dame, a 4-year starter. Was signed this week after being cut September 1st. He was negotiating with Edmonton of the Canadian Football League when they called him due to the injury to Hogaboom and asked him to come back.
But the interesting thing about Blair Keel is the fact that he was drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers originally, and I was there when we played in the preseason games. John McKay liked him very, very much, said that he has a lot of ability, a lot of poise, get a lot of things done. He moves well by design, and I think he's a lot better quarterback than people think he is.
Here's Wansley on the pitch on a first down, and there's no place to go. Trudeau, diagnosis is a strained left knee. There he is, walking around. Now, we understand, Hank, there is some controversy about how he was hurt.
Well, they want to make sure. I think the Colts have requested to see a shot of it again because they weren't sure what happened on the play and how he got hit, whether it was a late hit or what had happened. But I don't think there was anything wrong with that. I think he just had his feet tangled up as he went down, and that's what created the problem.
We've been told the Colts felt it was flagrant. From that replay, I would be hard-pressed to see anything out of the ordinary.
No way it was flagrant. But, it doesn't hurt to look to find out.
Doesn't cost anymore, right?
No, just got to ask.
2nd down, 12. Blair Keel, 1 of 1 in the passing department, wants to try again, but all kinds of movement. Looked like a problem between the center and Keel, and the flags are in the air.
Ball start, 64 offense. 2nd down.
Well, 64, that's Ben Utt, the left side guard, who Rod Dowhauer says has just played himself into being a good player. Very dedicated, great disciplined player out of Georgia Tech. He was a free agent. Boy, I tell you, the Colts have just not been able to avoid the penalties. Look at that. Today, 7 for 87. First 2 games, 9 for 78. So that's going to make it now 2nd down, 17.
It's funny about penalties. Usually, the team that makes the most penalties during the course of the year has the most success. It's amazing how that works out.
I don't understand that.
Well, I think it's because they're a lot more aggressive. I think that's the reason.
2nd and 17 at the 12.5-minute mark of the 4th quarter. Keel in trouble. Oh, is he in trouble? He is buried.
To demonstrate that point, I think the Raiders are probably the winningest team in all of pro football for an extended period of time. And year in and year out, they lead the league in penalties.
Boy, they had a summit meeting at the head of Blair Keel. Watch this.
Ball spotted at the 16-yard line.
There he goes back into the pocket.
Loss of 11.
See, but the problem is really he can't see anything evidently downfield. He had enough time to throw the ball, but didn't know where to throw it. And that was really the problem. You got to be careful. You can't hold on and pass block forever. And I think he was a little bit unsure of where he was going to throw the ball, had no place to run, no place to hide, and finally got caught.
With the analysis is Hank Stram. I'm Gary Bender. We have 12-10 left to go in this game. Third down now, 28 yards to go for the Colts, who trail 21-7. Blair Keel, the quarterback, coming in to replace the injured Trudeau, throwing deep to Brooks. He's got it.
See, now that play was done by design. He went back into the pocket and rolled left. He got outside of the containment that time, had two guards out in front, had all the time in the world, and got the ball right on the money. Watch it now. He goes right back. Watch him move now. Look, and then he goes to his left. See, look at the lineman pull out in front. See, he's got all the time in the world. There's no containment. And he throws the ball deep downfield. Billy Brooks makes the catch. And that's really a big play. But again, it was done by design. He didn't run out of the pocket just accidentally. He was designed to run out of the pocket.
32-yard pickup. It's a tough throw for a right-hander running left like that. 32 yards to the 34 of Los Angeles. This crowd's ignited. Wilcher putting pressure on Keel. Keel's going to be sacked again. Wilcher twice now has gotten to Keel, and that's no surprise. He led the team in sacks last year with 12 and a half.
Well, that time, they pull both the guard and the tackle one way, and then the other guard pulls the other way. If you take any time at all, why there's going to be penetration, there's going to be a leak, and there was, and as a result, they lose yardage on the play.
So Keel will regroup, now has a 2nd and 19. Blair Keel has really battled back, Hank. You and I know him well. He had Crohn's disease, which is a form of colitis, lost all kinds of weight, didn't know if he'd ever be playing football again. And I like his ability to battle back. He's a stockbroker in the offseason.
Well, he's not a prototype, but I guarantee he's a winner.
Back to throw, and that's deflected. Down he goes again. They are storming in there now. That's Wilcher again. Wilcher 54, along with Newsom 22.
But there again, you see that he's 6 foot tall, and unless he has plenty of time to throw the ball, when people get their hands up, they're going to knock it down. Here he is. He's back in the pocket. Look at Wilcher. And that time he got a massage right about the time he was trying to get rid of the football and got a shot from the backside.
It's more than a massage, Coach. Wilcher came untouched that time. 21-7 now, and it's a 3rd down 19, and Keel missing all the preseason. He was in camp but never passed at all or played it down. Now getting a lot of work in a hurry.
He'll get a lot of experience in a hurry here this afternoon, the rest of this game.
3rd and 19, here they come again. This time he throws it, and that would have been a long run by Jerry Gray if he'd held on. And it would have been the 4th interception of the year for Gray, but he tried to run before he had it. Looking at him, he's really disgusted at himself. There was nobody over there.
No, Gray was the only guy that was open, and he hit him right in the numbers, but he didn't catch it.
4th down, and it looks to me like the Colts are going to go for it on the 43-yard line. 4th and 19. Well, you talk about height hurting Blair Keel. That's what the Rams are so excited about on Jim Everett. He's 6'5".
Well, he's like a tackler or a tight end playing quarterback.
4th down 19.
Like a big lumberjack. Here he is, moving the tackle again, moving the pocket.
And he rifles that. It looked like Booza, the intended receiver, inside the 25, but they had people all over the place defensively.
I tell you one thing that happens when you move the quarterback around like that, it really gets those defensive linemen tired in a hurry.
Well, Blair Keel came in and kind of stirred it up a little bit, but they've run out of downs. With 11-11, he was 2 of 5 for 61 yards. Hank, earlier in this broadcast, we brought up the point about you feel it should be mandatory that each team carry 3 quarterbacks. Now the issue comes to the forefront again that they're down to 1 in Blair Keel today.
Well, it just verifies what we talked about earlier. I just don't think that you can possibly go into a season or expect to play for an extended period of time with just 2 quarterbacks, not in the National Football League. I think it should be a mandatory thing that every team must carry 3 quarterbacks. You know, this business of having the punter be the extra quarterback, you might as well have a cheerleader come off the field and be the quarterback in this situation.
I don't think Ron Stark wants to hear you say that.
Well, no, but I mean, realistically, how much time does he spend playing quarterback?
I agree. But Ron Stark would be their quarterback should have something happen to Blair.
But, you know, he never practices the position, so how could he ever do anything efficiently being a quarterback because he played it in high school?
Dickerson carried for 2. It'll be second down 8. 12 teams, by the way, I think we mentioned this earlier, are carrying 3 quarterbacks. Here is Dickerson, and he's in trouble. Johnny Cooks is there. Cooks, who missed last week with a bad back, former #1 pick out of Mississippi State, very, very alertly to make the stop, and it's going to come up to 3rd down and 9 yards to go.
This would really be a great time for the Rams to really work on their draws, their screens, and their passing game. They do the other things so very well that I think the rehearsal time in this kind of a contest would be very, very beneficial.
Next week, the Rams go to Philadelphia to meet the Eagles, and the Colts stay home to meet the Jets. And Hank and I will be in Veterans Stadium next week to bring you that Rams game. 3rd down 9 from the 44. From the shotgun, Bartkowski. And there's that little shovel to Dickerson, and it didn't fool him. It's 4th down. Colts have been kind of a pretty determined defensive team the second half.
But see, on that situation, I don't care where you got Dickerson. If they're looking for him to beat you, and they're looking for him to get the ball, and I don't care where he is, that time in a shotgun formation, you try to fool him by throwing a shuttle pass to him. They're still keying him, so that's why it wasn't very effective.
Hatcher, he'll get this one off to Bill Brooks. Brooks going back to the 10-yard line. Well, they really like Brooks. I think down the road he's going to be a great one. As a wide receiver, punt returner, Hatcher hit it high, and that puts pressure on the rookie. Has to wait a long time, but he's equal to it. And at the 17-yard line, the Colts will have it. 9 minutes, 3 seconds left to go. The Rams on top. The Rams with a 21-7 lead. That was our halftime score. Let's look ahead next Saturday. Oklahoma. Brian Bosworth, the Boz, who started a new haircut style throughout the Midwest. And there he is, number 44, storming in, and he'll try to storm this guy, Vinny Testaverde. Both of them strong Heisman Trophy candidates. Testaverde from the Long Island area with a rifle arm, as this Miami team defeated Oklahoma last year. Gave the Sooners their only setback, and the Sooners would like to have some revenge.
Yeah, they're both great teams, but I think really and truly, when you stop and think about it, the Miami team can run the ball very well. They can pass the ball very well. They've got very good defense. I think they can do more things, and they have more ways to win the game than Oklahoma.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go against you, Coach. I think Oklahoma, with all that talent, Barry Switzer may have the best football talent he's ever had, their quickness, and we'll check up next Sunday and see who was right on this.
Well, they've got great speed, no question about that.
Super speed. Back here, it's 1st down 10 from the 18-yard line. That's an interesting thing. Passed on every 1st down this half, the Colts have, in a catch-up posture. Blair Keel, the quarterback, his second series. Play action, didn't fool too many people. Up the field it comes, and he overshoots his intended receiver. That is James Harbor, number 88. They want to take a look at this guy. He's been hurt. He was out all last year on the injured reserve out of Mississippi. But Rod Dowhauer feels with his speed, he was in the SEC 100-meter finals, that they got to take a long look at him.
Now, he was expecting to get the ball over the outside shoulder. The ball was thrown inside, and people actually wonder now whose fault is that. Really, I think it's the quarterback's fault that time, unless the guy was supposed to run inside. But obviously, he looked like he was supposed to be running outside. The ball was just thrown poorly to the inside.
I don't know what you expect from Blair Keel. He's come in this week trying to relearn the offense, and there's going to be some problems like that. Here's Wansley, gets to the 20-yard line, and that's all. 3rd down coming up. Greg Meisner along with Mel Owens. Well, it all started with Indianapolis taking a 7-0 lead. Then it was 14-7 after 1 quarter, 21-7, and that's the way it's been since the halftime intermission point. The Colts have not been able to score in the second half this season. They'd like to get that wiped away somehow. Just across the 20-yard line, 3rd and 7. From the shotgun goes Blair Keel. Pressure coming. Jeter's there, and it's broken up. Jeter from one side, and pressure coming from the other side as well. Kevin Green was the other guy there, number 91. Boy, Jeter is really put together. Looks like he's chiseled out of granite.
But the big thing about it is, you know, the quickness and the speed. The big thing was the way he came off the ball and rushed the passer. He looked like he was in a starting machine that time, the way he came off the ball and put pressure on the quarterback. Just ran right by the offensive tackle Hinton and made the pressure on the quarterback. Great move by Gary Jeter.
This may be the star of the day start for the Colts as he punts again. This one not quite as long, and it's going to take a bounce out of bounds inside the 45-yard line. The Rams will have it there. 8 minutes left to go. However, there's a penalty flag. Let's check it out. Ron Stark getting a lot of action in the punting department, but he's been outstanding as expected. Got a holding call against the Rams.
4-3 hang time that time on the kick. And the last time Hatcher kicked the ball, it was 5-1.
He's had as much as a 5-4 this season. And that's deadly when you kick it high and deep.
Holding, number 46 in the receiving team, post-possession foul, first down.
So they'll inherit the ball at the 35-yard line.
34-yard line.
Tonight on CBS, it's 60 Minutes, followed by George Washington 2. The Forging of a Nation, starring Barry Bostwick and Patty Duke, followed by Walter Cronkite at large. The first of 2 primetime specials that Cronkite will have this season. It's always good to see Walter back. Standing man that he is. From the 35 now, the Rams will have it. Bartkowski still the quarterback. Here's Dickerson. And Dickerson picking up possibly 8-9 yards on the play. Orlando Lowry, 59, making the stop.
You know, the great thing about that student battery right, you know, from the I formation, he's back there so deep, but he doesn't go parallel to the line of scrimmage. He's going forward at an angle when he gets the ball, and as a result, anything he sees inside, he takes very quickly. And there was a great illustration of it on that last play. He saw the seam and took advantage of it and banged right through there for a 9-yard gain.
And he just posted his 30th 100-yard game of his career. He was second in the NFL in rushing coming into today, second only to Walter Payton. Second down, a yard to go from the 44. This time Redden, good second effort, and that second effort may be enough for the first down. You know, when Barry Redden came out of college, he had outstanding stats. He was third in rushing. You know who was ahead of him that year? Herschel Walker and Marcus Allen. That's pretty fast company. And Redden now getting a chance to really be an integral part of this Ram team. First down across the 45. You think about Dickerson, Hank, the fact that he has a single season rushing record, a playoff record of 248 yards. He may have every record before his career is over.
You know, the other nice thing about Dickerson, aside from all the football thing, he's a great kid along with him. He really is. Delightful guy to talk to, and I think he has everything in the right perspective.
Here comes Barry Redden again, and Redden all the way to the 46-yard line of Indianapolis. Jackie Slater that time a pulling tackle leading the charge. That Ram offensive line is something. Here you trade Kent Hill away, and yet you have a guy like Newberry who's fit in so well, number 66. You have Dennis Hara, a Pro Bowl performer. Slater, a Pro Bowl performer. Irv Pankey, they feel played like that. Did not get enough votes to get there, but number 75 is in that caliber.
Yeah, they like the way he's been playing. He's been playing extremely well.
Second down 2. Dickerson with 107 yards, going to add some more. And he'll take it all the way to the 36, another first down. And this is a methodical, power-packed drive by this Ram team.
Tackle by Kane Randall.
Barry Krause, number 55, has really played an outstanding game here this afternoon for the Colts. He's got 14 unassisted tackles. He's allowed to be a couple of inches shorter after this game.
First down at 36.
He's quite a guy. We enjoyed visiting with him this week. He's very active in charity work. In fact, very involved with child abuse programs that are being instituted here in the Indianapolis area.
Well, he's involved with it really with the Special Olympics, the March of Dimes. and also the big brothers and sisters, along with the prevention of child abuse.
Here's Redden straight ahead again. Boy, this isn't fancy right now, is it, Hank? It's just kind of strap it on and go ahead and blow over some people.
Well, they got the buses. The motors are started out in the parking lot. The buses are getting warmed up. They want to get out of here and leave town, get back to Los Angeles.
Get ready for the next date against Philadelphia, who was losing again today. There's the yardage, and the Rams have dominated all the way. It was an early beginning for the Colts, who scored after the opening fumble on a kickoff. Wansley from 10 yards out. That occurred at the 13:32 mark of the first quarter, and since that, it's been all Los Angeles.
We're going to be doing that Philadelphia game next week, and I think, the personality of these two teams are totally different. The Colts are a zone defensive team, and the Eagles are a man-for-man aggressive team. We'll allow us to see some big bombs, big plays next week against Philadelphia.
Buddy Ryan run that 46 defense that he likes. There's Dickerson inside again, and inside the 30-yard line. To the 28, time ticking down with 3:55. Boy, what an outstanding position the Rams are in, Hank. They're going to go 3-0. They've got Everett on the horizon. They're a team that has such a nice blend between the young and the old. And that trade may have given John Robinson and the Rams a very bright future for a long time.
Well, I think they had a bright future to begin with, and I think they added a link to the chain that was very obviously needed, and so I think they're going to be in great shape as they go through the years with a young quarterback.
Dickerson fumbled on this play, trying to pick up a first down on a 3rd and 3. He did not get the first down, but who got the football? Looks like the Rams still have it. Well, we talked about Jim Everett. Let's hear what John Robinson has to say about him.
He and I talked the other day. We're talking maybe 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that, where he can assimilate what we're doing. The tough part is that he's coming in not in a training camp environment, and he's not coming in to be the starter. If we said, Jim, you're the starter, he'd probably be ready to play in a shorter period of time because he'd take all the snaps. We've got to almost artificially create practice opportunities for him, but that's what we're going to try to do.
Talking about mid-season, maybe before he will impact it. This will be a 46-yard field goal by Lansford, who's earlier and was aborted on a bad hold by Dills. This time it's underway, and he nailed it. Dead center with it.
Boy, that's 14 in a row away from home. That's pretty strong.
So the 46-yarder gives the Rams a 24-7 lead with 2:27 left to go in the game. Well, you look at that NFC West, Hank, and Atlanta was having a real battle with Dallas, but already New Orleans, San Francisco had suffered a loss. The Rams last year got out early. Remember, they won their first 7 and won the division, and they're making all kinds of pretenses they'd like to get out fast again and put this division away. There is Bartkowski, and I think you alluded to this earlier. What a great attitude he has about the acquisition of Everett.
Well, I think it's a great move for the franchise. I think that he, from everything that I can gather, I don't know much about him personally, but from everything I can gather from outside sources, he sounds like he's a franchise-type player. I know that about 12 years ago, I would have killed for a situation like this, to come to a team that's a playoff team, a team that has a winning tradition, has a great offensive line, great offensive football team with a lot of weapons, and it's a great situation for a young fella. I'm looking forward to pouring everything that I have into him so he can become a Pro Bowl player for a lot of years.
And he means that, Hank.
Oh,
it's
he
not
does.
Just lip service.
No, it's sincere, and the great thing about it is also, he's just happy. He said, I don't care about any stats. I don't care about anything what people write about me, say about me. The only thing I'm concerned about is having an opportunity to win. That's all. The only thing that matters.
Bill Brooks is upended, and that is Van. He is a wild man. Norwood Van, and it looks like Brooks is shaken up on the play. He was just upended on that play. Boy, they have not gotten those kickoffs out, as the coverage has just been excellent today by the Rams.
Well, this is one thing they haven't done that well in the 2 previous games. They're doing it extremely well today, and I think that's one of the things I think they've evidently worked on, because John Robinson told me yesterday that the one thing that bothered him a little bit was the fact that they were not being quite as efficient as they were a year ago. And a year ago, they were 1, 2, 3, 4 on kick returns and kickoff coverage, and so in the whole league, so that's very strong.
They do not have Henry Ellard back yet, but there's negotiations still going on. Here is Keel, and he's going to be dropped again. Mel Owens, 58. He had 3 tackles for a loss last week. They're grinning as the Rams have had a very productive afternoon.
Well, the strong linebacker, normally the defensive scheme doesn't get a chance to blitz nearly as much as the weak side linebacker, and so he hasn't gotten as much notoriety as he really deserves. He's a great linebacker. We're talking about Mel Owens.
This will take us to the 2-minute warning. Fine catch by Harbor, and that will be a first down grab out to the 33-yard line. The 2-minute warning is here. So the Colts would like to maybe salvage something in the remaining 156. We'll be back. Well, Hank, it looks like Atlanta's losing today. That means the Rams will be the only unbeaten team in the NFC West. Your thoughts about them as they go into Week 4?
Well, I like them. Of course, I think they're a little bit more versatile than they've been in past years, and I think they're going to become more and more versatile as the year goes by, because I think that Bartkowski is going to give them that dimension. They get Ellard back. They're going to create a lot of problems for people, and if they continue to be aggressive offensively and not basically go revert back to Dickerson and company, I think they're going to be a terrifically outstanding football team.
Shows you how big that win was last week, defeating the 49ers in Anaheim. Here's the pass to Booza. Booza's got a first down. Scrambles out to the 45. 5 straight years, the 49ers had beaten the Rams down there, and last week, L.A. was able to change that around, and now headed to their 3rd win as many outings with 1:35 left in the game. Blair Keel scrambling out of there, running for his life. Out to the 50, he's going to get out of bounds as Wiltshire makes sure of it. The crowd here really encouraging Blair Keel on. Very popular from the Columbus, Indiana area. He led Columbus East to the state championship his senior year. Don't forget now, coming up next, Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Those of you in the San Francisco area will see your 49ers take on the Saints, and the rest of you will be watching the Giants and the Raiders. And a reminder, those of you in L.A., San Diego, and Indianapolis will not see the second game because of the NFL blackout rule. Second down now, a yard to go with 1:28 left in the game. Boy, it's been a 1-2 punch today for the Rams. Bartkowski 160 yards passing, Dickerson 121 yards rushing. And the defense putting some pressure on again. Keel just threw that one up for grabs and almost completed it. Booza was over there. I thought he was throwing it straight up in the air for a moment.
It looked like a key breaker. I think everybody thought the ball was on the ground, and he picked it up and threw it like a hand grenade.
They were scattering, I'll tell you.
Well, he pulled the pin just in time.
Jim Kelly's got Buffalo as a very respectable team now, don't they, Hank?
Oh, they do. They're much better, much different team with him at quarterback. Because here again, what we talked about, they were relying basically on the run up there, trying to get by that way, and now they have another dimension.
Keel didn't have the right personnel, evidently. He's going to call for a timeout with 1:22. Well, with the Jets coming in here next week, you wonder if Trudeau will be ready. We had a diagnosis of a strained knee. You see Hogeboom in the striped shirt standing in the background.
The way they put pressure on him today, I don't know for sure whether he wants to be ready.
Well, Trudeau started out like they might get some things going. They scored early. But then it's been the other way all the way. And now Detroit's coming back in that Tampa Bay game.
But they lost
There it is.
24-20.
Yep. Steve Young may be the difference, huh?
Well, he gives them a dimension they didn't have. You know, I think he runs so well. He runs like a halfback once he gets away from trouble. And of course, he's got an excellent arm along with it. I think once he learns the system and gets just a little bit more patient, why, he's going to be a terrific quarterback in the league.
Hogeboom in the background there. Boy, they thought he was such a steal, picking him up from Dallas. Thought that he was going to be the guy. Then he got a little too ambitious or a little too aggressive on his own on that fumble he ran back against Miami. And they don't know if he'll be back at all this year. So the Colts are very thin. There he is, Gary Hogeboom. He played well in that first game, even though they lost it to New England. Here's Wansley trying to get wide, and Jeter's there, and also there is Jerry Gray and Cromwell. Flying around out there, the Rams. So it's going to come to a 4th down. Total domination. Bartkowski and Dickerson with the big numbers. And again, for the 3rd straight game, the Colts will not rush for 100 yards. Well, last year they led the AFC in rushing. Blair Keel goes down again. That's Kevin Green, number 91. They think that Green, 91, is a maniac. He is very, very physical. And John Robinson said about Green, he says, I've never had a player improve as much from one year to the next.
And of course, a lot of teams in the league are using a player like Green as their kind of designated rusher. They move around a lot, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback in obvious passing situations. But it's been very, very effective, and it looks like Green's going to fill the bill perfectly for the Rams.
You know what that reminds me of? We had the 49ers earlier this year. They have a guy by the name of Charles Haley. Same kind of number, 94, playing the same kind of a role. Just like you said, that seems to be a new advancement in defense. Dills is now the quarterback, and Charles White is the running back. And the former Heisman Trophy winner picks up maybe a yard. 44 seconds left. So the first time that the Rams have ever played in Indianapolis will be registered as a successful venture, as Indianapolis, for some reason, has called a timeout to stop the clock.
You know, the Rams have had 7 sacks so far this afternoon.
Well, let's see. Colts gave up 7 last week, too. One more time, I want to remind you, and we're excited about this one, and that is the Oklahoma-Miami, Florida game next Saturday, 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern. And you have final thought on that one?
Well, no, where they're playing a game?
That game is in Miami, the Orange Bowl.
Well, I think the other thing that's an advantage for the Miami Hurricanes is the fact that they play on grass better than they play on synthetic turf, and I think vice versa. I don't think that Oklahoma expresses the same personality on grass as they do on synthetic turf. They're a lot faster. They're a very fast team, but they're a lot faster on synthetic turf than they are on grass.
Boy, you're just building your case for them, aren't you, every time?
Like, just let me have the chalk.
I think you've got Jimmy Johnson. You better call Jimmy and give him some of those little tips when he gets ready for this week.
Some of the golden goodies.
Barry Switzer's going to wonder what's happened to your loyalty to him.
Yeah,
that Oklahoma situation.
If somebody tells them that about my suggestions, why, they might just go the other way.
It'll be a good one, though. 42 seconds left. You saw the expression John Robinson when Indianapolis called the timeout. It's like, come on, we've got the buses warmed up. We're going back.
The motors are already going, wasting gas.
Why are you calling a timeout? Here for the first time is Rob Carpenter, 38, the former New York Giant, carrying the ball. And I think we're going to let the clock go this time. 3rd down coming up. 30 seconds left to go. So Eric Dickerson with 121 yards rushing. Bartkowski throwing his first touchdown pass of the season, 162 yards for the game. And I believe Indianapolis has asked for another timeout, haven't they? There's Eric with his 30th 100-yard game, and the fans booing here because their hometown Colts have called another timeout. Well, Rod Dowhauer in his 2nd year, last year finishing 5-11. Off to a tough start, but boy, what a tough schedule. New England, Miami, Los Angeles, the Jets, the 49ers to follow.
You know, Rod's got a great demeanor, a great presence. You know, he's not going to look for the gas pipe. He's going to hang in there and continue to do what he thinks he has to do to help this team grow up and develop and be a better football team, but it's tough. It's going to be a tough road to hoe.
You can feel for him, I'm sure. Game 2, the NFL doubleheader. San Francisco area, you'll see 49ers and Saints. The rest of you will be watching the Giants and Raiders, except for Los Angeles, San Diego, and Indianapolis. You'll not see that second game because of the NFL blackout rule. You may be tired of us reminding you of that, but there's some viewers that might be surprised if we don't bring that to your attention. And I don't want them calling Hank all week complaining because that game didn't come into their area.
I won't be complaining about that.
Well, this one has come to an end. John Robinson's crew is now 3-0. I want to thank our spotter, Bob Brennan, and our producer, Bob Tikas, and director, Peter Bleckner, for their job. Rod Dowhauer now trying to regroup as they meet the Jets next week. For Hank Stram, this is Gary Bender saying so long from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. For the final score, the Rams 24, the Colts 7. Don't forget, coming up next, Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader, New Orleans versus San Francisco, or the Giants against the Raiders. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after these words from your local station.